Futures back in negative territory this morning on more Ukraine-Russia headlines. We're just waiting on final Q4 GDP numbers as well, set to come across any moment now. We did get ADP, their national employment report, out this morning ahead of the non-farm payrolls number. Coming up on Friday, ADP number much better than expected. So we'll see how this GDP number comes across when it does come across. But markets obviously coming off another pretty impressive performance yesterday, back in positive territory once again. The NASDAQ, if you can believe it, is only 10% off its all-time high. We ended the day for the S&P just over 4% from all-time highs. So nice move back off the lows that we saw going back to the beginning of the month. The 2 and 10 year back on watch this morning as well. If you remember, it did invert for the first time since 2019 yesterday. We're back above the break-even mark this morning. So Q4 final PCE number 6.4 versus 6.3. So a little bit under where we expected there for GDP as well. 6.9 versus 7. So this is going to be the other major economic release of this week ahead of non-farm payrolls coming up on Friday. A couple of big names moving around here this morning. Watching Micron, we're watching Lululemon, both in positive territory coming off impressive earnings reports. And obviously, we'll talk about some meme stocks. Pretty quiet, though, in the pre-market for those this morning. It's Wednesday, March 30th, 2022. TraderTV.live starts now. Yeah, there we go. Look at some red numbers coming off another not so good headline when it comes to Ukraine and Russia. Zelensky saying that it would appear Russia is sending more troops. Nothing confirmed, obviously, on that front. But we went from basically break even to slightly higher back into the red on that note that came out about half an hour ago or so. 0.6% there for the NASDAQ leading the way. Yeah, crude higher on that as well. 2.8% now. Was up only about 1% to start things off, both Bitcoin and Ethereum back in the red as well. So we'll keep an eye on some more headlines coming across if they do come across this morning. But if you missed it, guys, that GDP number, final Q4 GDP number for last year, a little bit lower than expected, 6.9 versus 7. So a tiny miss there. The market did tick higher, though, on that.
Boo, Lawrence. Like, obviously not the greatest headline, the Ukraine headline. Yesterday, you had like the positive possible talk, and oil went down pre-market, and there was a short for nat gas plays as well, took tell. Now long tell, because the news is the other way. Nat gas was breaking the highs, and we'll just go in the other direction of that one. We'll get to that in a bit. But oil, making a pretty large rise already. Just looking at what had happened off the bottoms yesterday, like you already had a pretty big bounce off that 50, and it's just like the way it's bouncing off the 50 period. It's kind of it's almost ridiculous, like the kind of snapback that you've been able to have. So the tremendous momentum hasn't really gone anywhere. Keep your ear to the ground for the headlines. We're here to trade what moves, obviously. So there's a few oil names which have been in play. I've been looking at TAL because nat gas has been volatile as well. So there's lots of us to be able to watch. And of course, the meme names are out there, but I'm not sleeping on anything that reported, even if it doesn't have the greatest volume pre-market. We saw with Dave & Buster's yesterday. Once the market opened up, you wanted to be where the party was, and unfortunately the party was there, and I was looking elsewhere because it had no pre-market volume. Not happening today. We'll be watching Lulu. We'll be watching Micron for sure, and don't sleep on Chewy either.
Yeah, actually, I didn't even look at Chewy. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, look, hey, guys, welcome. Micron on the move here. We talked about Lululemon yesterday as well. That's up 7%. We talked about that. We like them, for other reasons, but it's a nice move upside here. Oil back up 3%. Those numbers coming through, we'll see. I mean, we wait for Jobs Friday to come out, and then we'll start to rock and roll. But no, I'm excited again today. The sticky note is out. The Watch Us Trader TV Live is out as well. So make sure you check all of that. But yeah, we're rocking and rolling. Yesterday, like 170 likes or something on the sticky note as well. And the NASDAQ is up now, 17% in 11 days. So there you go, 17% in 11 days. We tweeted out Jay Powell to the rescue. He came there. He showed his face, showed his hand. Now we'll see what happens on Friday with these numbers. But yeah, what a big monster move here in the NASDAQ and the S&P. And yeah, it doesn't seem like we're too much recession bound for now. But I know there are some people that are thinking it's 50-50, little more, little less. But we're going to continue to trade for you. And there's some hot names one more time. The banks report in just a couple weeks. So we're almost all through the cycle again.
Yeah, it's an impressive move, to say the least. We'll talk a little bit about some of these tech names as well. I mean, the move off the low, Neil and I were talking about Apple this morning a little bit, unreal. Before we go any further, let's bring in Miss V. Good morning.
Good morning, team. Happy Wednesday to you all. I wish you a wonderful, profitable day. Please like this video and let's get it started, Brandon.
Yeah, lots to discuss as we head towards the open this morning, guys. Micron, obviously, with the earnings report, so we'll talk about Micron coming up here. I just saw this as well. NVIDIA down slightly. Apparently, some directors selling some shares, 27 million worth. So chip makers worth a look this morning. There was also CCL, I noticed. 2 days, very, very strong for these names. Back to the down. I mean, yesterday was okay. It gapped up and kind of went sideways. Back to the downside here this morning, down 1.7%. There was a initiation at underweight for, I think it was Wainwright on CCL. So we'll have a look at the travel names. But to kick things off, chip makers on the move this morning.
Ooh, I like chips. Ketchup chips are my absolute favorite, although apparently they're not a thing. Like, I don't think they're a thing in the States.
They are not.
It's a big deal here. I love them. I think they're fantastic, and you guys should get on board with that if you're in the U.S. Like, find a way to make it. We're not really talking about chips. But Micron.
I like Doritos.
Yes.
Yeah, Doritos are pretty nice.
We shouldn't be talking about food already.
You started it, man.
Actually, that's a good point. I started it. That's my bad. But Micron doing the usual thing that it does, where you have an unbelievable earnings report, blew it out of the water, and it's ridiculously lowly priced, right? Like you're gonna probably adjust after these and see the new numbers, but it's probably close to single digits when it comes to PE, and it's always been that way for Micron, and it was having trouble before. Well, now you're finally past that 200. You're trying to hold the 50 period. Now, if it gets back, and we sort of talked about this level before, that 80 to 81, man, Micron, if it decides to pull all the way back into there, it's going to have to be a buy. It just, you would have expected in this type of earnings season with the run that we had, with numbers like that, I wouldn't have been surprised if you'd come and looked at 90, but the way that it was trading, it just didn't seem like the market was going to want to reward it. Now, this pullback that we're seeing in the market might actually give us a chance at something closer to filling in that gap. But the first level to watch is going to be the 50 period, which is right here, right now. It doesn't have a ton of volume. When the market opens up, that's certainly likely to change, although I'm fairly certain that a certain CEO is going to be on another program this morning. So you might want to watch out just in case things get said around, I think like 9 o'clock or something like that. And I do not like trading something pre-market if a CEO is talking, whether it's an earnings call or anything like that. You want to trade with caution because there's not as much liquidity. One word, one way or the other, and whatever level you have means absolutely nothing for the next 10 minutes or so. So just tread lightly pre-market on this one.
So that's the Micron CEO, I guess.
I'm pretty sure that's what I heard. I think it's 9 o'clock or something like that. But
yeah, I mean, we won't really be. I mean, I don't plan on being in it at that point, anyways. There is the obvious trade, of course, on Micron. Look, I like it. I mean, I tweeted it out. It's the number one name for me today. It's the number one stock that I like here. And here it is. You find it at Trader TV, Sean. The watch list, watchlist.tradertv.live. I mean, this is where I pull these names from. And Micron here seems like a great report. EPS beat, nice guide, up 3% in a down market. So that's great. We have the 86 break, and we have the long support back to 82. So I just put this sticky note up in there, and thank you again for yesterday's support. I think yesterday we had like over, let me see here. We had 43 retweets and 188 likes, so thank you so much. And yesterday's was hot fire, so let's see if we can do it again. Here's the 86 break, pretty obvious. We touched up here before on earnings. It stopped and dropped, and now we'll have to wait to see if it takes that out. I do not have that order in. Like I said, the market is falling down, as is Micron right now. But you know, I think that we can get support back here. This is what we've been doing. We've been waiting for it. I wrote down 82 back in here. You know, that's a level that we've looked at when a company comes out and reports and then now winds up coming right back to the same levels that they were at the day before their report, and it's a good report. I think you got to go long there, right? And so that's kind of what we're looking at. If you look at a 20 period as well, you do have, there it is. You do have 82, obviously yesterday as the high before the drop down to 80 and the rally, so we're right into there. And then, you know, sometimes you cherry pick a little bit. You don't, you know, we're going to go all the way back here to the beginning of March and see where we had a little bit of consolidation between 80 and 81. So there's, you know, something there. And then some of these tops, if you really want to get specific, this is all 80 and 81. So, you know, I just think you got to start to build at least here. Look at 83 as some support, and then you're back down to 82. And again, we still have 50 minutes to go. So like Neil mentioned there, we'll see where Micron has in store for today. But it was a good report. It was good numbers, better EPS, a better guide, a low PE. And yeah, the chip space I think is starting to get going again. You know, we're in the money on our SMH buys. And I like it. We've seen a big move in NVIDIA. We've seen a big move in AMD. And why can't we see, you know, an equivalent move here? Obviously not back to highs, but the bottom was 68. So we've already seen a nice move off the bottom here for Micron. But now they're backing it up with earnings. So, hey, you're going to back it up with earnings. It's going to be a name that a lot of people are going to trade. So why not Micron looking at 86 break? But hopefully we don't get forced to take that. Hopefully we can get some dip buys into 82.
How to move back up there in the futures, guys. A couple of more headlines coming across for Ukraine. So Zelensky came out earlier and said Russia possibly sending more troops. So the negotiator just saying he's optimistic after Istanbul talks with Russia. Also, a deal of any sort, if reached, would be put to a referendum in the Ukraine after Russia withdraws troops to February 23rd positions, so back on their side of the border. So those two things seem to be received pretty positively here in the market. Back to the upside. Wanted to mention Grow Generations. They came out, I guess it was late yesterday, and said, so this vote on the at the House or the floor of the House for cannabis federal legalization going to happen on Friday. GRWG, pretty impressive rally yesterday. Obviously not only cannabis stock, but we've talked about it on this show before in that same group, back above 10 here for GRWG. But Friday also, guys, is April Fool's Day, if anyone was wondering.
Someone's going to have fun with that.
Oh, yeah.
That vote on April Fool's Day. But look, I think for a lot of those, there was a spike last week, and that was great, and you had a lot of opportunity to be trading them. And then today, it turns into almost like a wait-and-see type of event. As I was getting my haircut, of course, like my barber's asking me, so what about like marijuana legalization? I'm like, it's just going to the House again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong, like Democrats have like a tiny razor, like little bit of thin control of the Senate, but it still has to, there's a couple of legs that
there's going to be some Democrats.
Yeah, there's two shoes that have to drop, and there's going to be some that have some reservations. And he was really, it's just one of those, everyone gets excited by the headline, and then you have to take a step back and realize it's like the third inning or whatever analogy you want to use. I'm in baseball mode, right? But it's one of those. And I kind of feel it might give some trading opportunities. Like if you get a pullback, there'll be people that want to make some bets in front and looking for good prices to buy. But I don't know if I want to chase anything out there. I actually, for the whole week, I've had a Tilray alert set if it gets into the low sevens, because I think if anywhere before the vote, if it gets down that far, I think that would be worth a bit of a buy inside of the range. And with Grow Generation, it would probably be about the same thing, right? Like if it comes back down to anywhere near where you've had the clusters of support, given that the event hasn't happened yet, the vote hasn't happened yet, looking for bounces off of levels like that. One other note, obviously with the headlines going back and forth, like I'm Intel, you're going to have headlines going in either direction. It's the type of thing where I have a stop just below $5, but a super aggressive positive headline coming out of the Ukraine is probably going to make me punch out of it anyways, right? Like you have to think about it from those lines as well. So just going to quickly show you here. Like this is the break it made. You can sort of see like while it was doing nothing, this was nat gas sort of booming this morning, and it was trying to break out. It's just yesterday's afternoon high, looking for a break back into that range, but the wrong headline comes out, and it's going to be sort of an obvious stop out. Like as good as the short was yesterday, going to try the long breakout on top.
Okay, yeah, so Grow Generation, this is a name that we've been in and out of. We haven't held this name in a long time. We liked it when it was, when we had talk of this back in election times. And you know what? They actually have cash. Like, this is an actual company making money. So I think it's about time to buy them. If you do think that this does have potential to go a little further, and remember what they are going to be selling, the hydroponics, selling the equipment, things like that. And I mean, that's part of the rally. I mean, even here in Canada, they're allowed to grow 4 plants per household. So when you do that and it opens it up, that could be part of the bill as well. I didn't thumb through it, but I'm sure there is some sort of at-home growing happening there, and that's where people go to Grow Generation brands. You're not going to find too many companies in the space here that are actually making money. So I don't mind them. They have cash. They have a small cash position. One, it says here, $1.28 per share in cash. So, if you break it down, you can get it down to there, but we're not talking about that. And I like it. It's above the 50-period moving average. It's bounced off $9 here a little bit, Grow Generation. So I don't think it's worth a play today. We've only have 9,000 shares. It was a nice move yesterday. On any sort of a fallback in, again, because they are somewhat of a real business, you do get a little bit of downtrend here. If it does fall back in, I think you have some support back at 7, 8, 9. But again, a lot of the marijuana stocks are going to look like this. It just depends on what kind of a home run you're trying to hit. So I like this as an investment at these levels, and then you possibly hold it to see where it goes if and when we do get some push on this. You may not get full-blown legalization, but again, if you get some growing, some different opportunities there, then yeah, people are going to flock to this name. It's shorted. It has 11% short float, so there is some interest here in this name. I feel like I almost think that you got to get above 14 before it really starts to rally. But like I said, to start to build a position around $9, so I might as well call it 10 on a little bit of a dip here. I like Grow Generation brands.
All right, a couple other earnings names. One particular kind of interesting, joining the recent trend of stock splits. RH, formerly Restoration Hardware, a mixed report overall, but 3-for-1 for RH. This was down initially, but came all the way back on the earnings call. We're kind of drifting lower here as well. I mean, 360 this morning, guys, going 3-for-1, joining that club today.
I kind of feel like the club of the people that the companies that have been, I guess, better known for their splits recently is a little bit different than Restoration Hardware. Like, I don't think we'll put them in the bucket with Tesla and Amazon and Google anytime soon. It's a vastly different story because it was a mixed earnings report, really not all that fantastic for them. And on top of that, look, when you have the inversion and people even start saying the word recession, like you start thinking about names like this and okay, what does it mean for a cyclical type company? And it just rejected the 50 period. I'm probably not going to be able to say anything positive about the chart, right? Like even with the bump, you're struggling here to stay above that 380 mark, or at least when it got to that 380 mark in that 50 period, and now you're even trending below it. And when I pulled it up, I said, okay, don't sleep on anything that has earnings. To me, like, that's the level that I think you would have been shorting in front of, maybe down to like a 375. It put the move on, you can see right down to like 8. Oh, did I just get a partial fill? So AMC broke 29 to the bottom. GameStop just took out that 175 even order. That was yesterday's bottom. So anyways, Restoration Hardware, I think 380, 375, 380. It's a fade for me. But on the move are some of these memes again. Now, GameStop just took out that afternoon bottom here at 175, while AMC was taking out 29. I like it down to about 165 was the big level where it bounced in the morning. I tried to capture that to the south off the long and couldn't get it. But I think there's room to 70 and then to that if there's a bit of a drop off. You can see the big double top at 200. Once it puts that on and AMC's going, then I'm following.
You mentioned, AMC going down, breaking 29, good call there. Chewy, okay, come on, charts, let's load up. If we can get a load up here, we can have a quick look, but they're down 14% here on Chewy. The thing about Chewy is, of course, we talked about Ryan Cohen. The short float right now is 30 on this, right? And so as we can go here on the I mean, I guess my 20 minutes working in my daily is not right now, so we'll get that loaded in a second. But obviously a big drastic move down here. Not a great number for Chewy again today. Oops, I just had it up and now I lost it. Yeah, not good. Plunges here on inflation worries. They missed on revenues. It's not a pretty day for Chewy. They also guided lower as well, so you're going to be down here into 44. But the funny thing about it is Chewy just comes right back to where it was just a couple days ago. So they participated huge in this market rally. And again, probably some of that does have to do with GameStop and the affiliation there. But you know what? As you come in, there are some nice levels here. But this is a name where I don't know, the shorts are just going to be right on this. And I don't know if anyone's going to be scrambling to get out. Like, if this has a high short float, the short's been put on throughout this whole move. So I'm not even sure the shorts are in the money yet. I mean, if it's been put on up here, fine. But this was already down to 36. So I feel like it could fall even more if you get into the 40s, and that's a pretty sweet trade. But at the same time, if you look at this minute chart here on Chewy, you could break higher. And we've seen stock squeeze. We've seen Bed Bath & Beyond have not very good earnings and rally like 30% that day, right? So you're already down that 14%. Wouldn't surprise me if you get halfway back, down 7-8% on some of the short interest covering. So let's just wait to see what happens. I mean, 44.5 here. You know, will the shorts obviously try to take a little bit of profit and run this name back to the upside? So if you're looking at that, I think you got 44.50 as a spot, but Chewy is not going to be a name that I'm going to look in as levels to break to the upside. I'd rather trade it with the momentum. So let's just see if we're right on Chewy and that it has a little bit more room to go back up to the upside. If you were looking for a short, then obviously you play some of these breakdowns. You bottomed at 43 there. Forget about these bottoms of 42. That's when the number first comes out. It's more like this little rally area here. 43, so if we can come back and dump through 43, then I like the short. But I actually like the stock here, considering how far it's down. And again, I wish the daily chart alone, and when it does, we'll look at it a little bit closer. But back into these 43, 44 areas, it's not a horrible spot. It's just shipping, supply chain inflation, obviously hitting that. They sell, they sell food products and products from China and little knickknacks for animals and whatnot. So yeah, that stuff's getting hit. We saw it with Dollarama, Dollar Tree, and things like that. So Chewy's going to get hit on the back of that as well. So let's see what happens with that 30% short float.
All right, if you're with us late last week, we mentioned this VIR biotech. Interesting story here this morning. It fell apart, I think it was Thursday maybe. Right at the close, FDA revoked its emergency use authorization for a COVID treatment. So this comes out after market yesterday. S&P Small Cap 600 going to include VIR. So that was the day we went from 24.5 to 20 into the close. And then today we come in, we're up 13% on this S&P 600 inclusion.
Yeah, because we were saying this before, like that matters more than the FDA, negative news on their COVID treatment. But okay, fine, whatever. Obviously, you can sort of see like the line in the sand here, and that'll be around 24 to 24.50. This is where it fell off an absolute cliff. Even if you pull back, you can sort of see like that was like a weekly support level for the stock. You just absolutely plunged, and we saw this one, basically right at the end of the day on Friday when we were doing the show. It was like, what is this stock and why is it dying? And then Brendan brought us the news. So like that's the line. Like it gets back down to 24 and can hold it. I guess that's where you want to buy it. I say don't write anything off just because there's low pre-market volume when it has earnings. So I don't want to completely ignore this. It only has 50,000 and it's already gapped a lot of this move and it's now right in the middle of a choppy range. So at least if it extends down to the bottom, that's interesting to me. Breaking 24 as well. Taking out the top would be interesting, but no volume whatsoever here. Like you said, the meme stocks are going to be in play. You can already see them moving around. Chewy, you've got to be able to look at. We've seen that rip your face off rally. Like if 43 holds on Chewy and it can't break that low, we've seen it before when it's a short float name. Like that, I have more faith that that'll move than VIR today, but I don't want to completely ignore this thing if it gets to 24 bucks.
Erasto there on my sticky note. You like the stock? Yeah, MU. Yeah, I like the stock. Thank you to you, Elaine, and thank you to Scully as well for liking the sticky note. AMC is going to have to be on watch today. We're going to go to the board here for upgrades and downgrades, but AMC is in this little pattern. I know Neil just talked about that with GameStop. I'm not in AMC yet, but you have that 31 top. We will get to this. I'll be trading this again today. We've been long it every single day this last couple days. Well, It's only been 2 days this week, but 3 days now. We'll try to go long on AMC here. Watch out for that 30 break. We do have a 28 little bottom there as well. So there's a few things popping off here for AMC. We'll look at it a little bit more when we get going, but 1.75 million shares, not horrible for AMC. We've seen this thing start to rally off some of these moves once the market opens up. So we'll wait to see here today. Just a quick look, since we're going to go for upgrades and downgrades, let's just see what's on the imbalance locator. And that was useless. So absolutely nothing here on the locator this morning. WFC, a small little buy. I don't even see any other names that we may look at. I mean, Teva is a good one, but that's what, $11? Yeah, $8, my bad, $9 there. Other than that, yeah, nothing on here that we normally look at. But hey, that imbalance sheet is going to get pumped up here in the next 20 minutes as we get close to the open. So let's go over to Brendo at the big screen and see the upgrades and downgrades.
Yeah, notable change in volume right across the board this morning, it would appear. In the pre-market here we go. Notable names indeed. Costco, Coke here, Pepsi over here. JP Morgan, maybe JP Morgan likes Coke. Lululemon, Micron, Chewy, we just talked about, obviously. Smile Direct, another one to the downside today on a price target cut as well, guys.
Oh, crow. Keep that screen up there. I missed it. Pepsi, Chewy. Okay, we know about Chewy. Oh, Smile Direct Club. Okay, so Smile, first of all, come at Costco and get burned. That's the one thing that you're going to say there. It's like Apple. I say, come at the king. But I believe Costco is the king of all retail, so I'm not really going to worry about that on an upgrade. I mean, obviously, I believe in the stock. I'm a shareholder of the stock. Haven't bought this in this dip. I really should have. Don't know why. It came right back up to all-time highs again. Like, unbelievable that Costco, you could have had this at that 200 period. I don't know. Hopefully this chart will load, but like the last time it was even close to the 200 period, I mean, you're probably going to have to go right back down here. And then we actually touched it. Pretty much touched it at 480. Unbelievable move upside for Costco. That name just continues to work. Like I said, come at the king and get burned on all of these things here. Do not short Costco at this high. It got upgraded today. They're working on all cylinders. It's just like, take my money, Costco, and that's fine. They give you that membership. They have deals with credit card companies, so on and so forth. It's the recurring revenues as well. That's part of what Apple's story is, and that's, it's like a subscription-based model, and they have amazing products at amazing prices, and I just wouldn't mess with them. Obviously, 31,000 shares is not going to do anything today. And then on the other side, Costco's not a day trade for us. I don't think we ever really trade that. It doesn't move as much. If you want to get it on earnings, that's one thing. But and then Smile Direct. Okay, like you talk about coming out of a high-quality company, then you're going to go right over to Smile Direct. And then, look, I don't think that this name is definitely done yet or anything like that. We only have 150,000 shares today, which isn't horrible. But look at the daily chart here for SDC, right? It's been a nice move down. We bottomed out, a nice move down. I remember trading this thing, in double digits. Yeah, there it is. Wow, 16, 17, 18, all the way down to $1 or $2. This is a name that's going to have to get a little bit of love from the medical and the dentist and all this world, because people don't like Smile Direct. They're coming at the traditional way of taking care of teeth, and it's a lot cheaper. You don't need that one-on-one, and it's just one of those solutions here where if it gets talked about and gets popular again, and maybe gets some sort of, and again, this is not my specialty, but I don't believe they have like the dental association approval or whatever for their product yet. If that ever comes through, then great. I think the real hit here for SDC, of course, is going to be that short float,
30.
Which 30 again. So yeah, Neil's already going to say that. So 30% short on Smile Direct, bumping up on $3. I don't think there's any problem with it, but I'd rather trade it on an upgrade than on a downgrade.
Yeah, same here. And I was actually just, for almost jokes aside, going to be like, yeah, it reminds me of Root, Smile Direct in some ways, like trying to disrupt the insurance agency, which is a business which is hard to do. That doesn't have nearly the short interest, and I think that's why Smile Direct, if it catches a catalyst, is pretty good. Charts can look good, but it doesn't matter. Pepsi's an interesting one because I think a lot of the downgrade probably has to do with you're right back to the lower high, and on top of that, any worries of like recession might not bode well for it. While it does do well in an inflationary environment, given their brands, you could run into some trouble if you have an overall recession. Like if you think about it, like they're just across the board, whereas Coke is a little more specialized. And I think that's where that play can come in. If there's a slowdown in the overall economy, it's not a ridiculous one to sell. Like when all the inflation was a concern last year, absolutely loved that it wasn't going anywhere. It was going sideways when no one believed that you were going to have inflation, but it's put in its high at this particular point. And Now that you have to start thinking about the recession potentially being priced in, these can come under some pressure. And just quickly, I need to jump to oil just for a second because Oxy's at a good level, and someone mentioned it in the chat here. Yeah, Oxy's breaking out of the last couple of days high here at like 57.75. I was trying to catch a dip on this. It's kind of the same play as TEL, right? Like you're getting the bounce back in some of the energy names, and just want to see if we can catch longs. TEL's starting to go, but might have missed the boat on Occidental as that starts to run. Just of course, be wary of any headlines that can come through. There's a lot of headline risk in the energy space.
Halt to pass along, guys. REVB, REVB, it's done absolutely nothing in the pre-market, so just be aware. Just halted for news pending. So Revelation Biosciences halted for news pending. So heads up on that. We'll see what happens with REVB. Let's bring in Arun here, get a check of the overall market and see a little bit, back to the upside here on that GDP number, the Q4 final GDP number, but still we're kind of chopping around, Arun.
Chopping around is what we've been doing. Yesterday, we came down a little bit, caught a bid, just like we've done for the last week, caught a bid, went up, finished on the highs, and now here we are kind of drifting to the downside, just messing around. For me, the levels that we're going to work with, same levels from yesterday, 45.60 even. 45.60 is going to be the bottom end level. If we can find a support, maybe in the 90s, find a long, go for the long, and see if we can get to the highs. That 46.20 area that we had in the morning, that one's gone clearly because we went as high as what, 30, 46.30. So we're going to move that one off the table. Next one up is 46.85, which is, we've got a decent amount of space to the upside. So 45.65 or 45.60, 65 to 60. If we can find a bid in front of that, preferably in the 90s, then a long is on the table. If we keep going to the upside, breaking through yesterday's highs, we're going to have to let it go and see at what point does it actually turn around where we can actually use that 46.85 to look for a short. But the trend is to the upside. We're coming to the end of the quarter, 2 days left, 2 trading days left. I would imagine as a quarter finishes with this kind of movement, there's got to be some activity as we close up the month, right? And so towards the end of the day today, towards the end of the day tomorrow, there should be some decent activity. Hopefully we get some movement going because, as you said, in the pre-market, we're just chopping around, but it does remain to be seen what the end of the month brings to the table in terms of volume. So hopefully we get a pickup in that. And we've got the 2 levels that we can work with. If the trend were to continue, that 45.65 should be no problem. That'll hold well. But again, if we break it, at what point do we start now getting some sell side activity on the table? So if we get below 45.65, I've got 45.20. For 45.20 as one option, and then there's option below that is 44.75. So we got 45.20 and then 44.75 if we break that 45.65. But breaking that 45.65 also breaks a trend that's been carrying on for a while now. So we'll see how this one plays out. But if the trend were to continue, that level should hold.
Great stuff. Thanks, Arun. We'll check back in again tomorrow morning. Let's get into everything else you need to know this morning on the watch list, guys. That's the link to the watch list. We send it out every morning before we come on at 8:30. Miss V will help you out in the chat with that link. Micron, top of the list. Mentioned it briefly if you joined us right off the bat at 8:30. Top and bottom lines beat. Forecast better than expected for Q3. We are starting to creep back to the upside here for MU.
Yeah, ding. I mean, that's exactly, Brendan. I mean, that's exactly what we're talking about here with Micron. Yeah, I like the beat. I like everything that Micron was saying today. It's the #1 name here on the sticky note. You can find it at Trader TV, Sean. And yeah, I like the stock, man. I mean, it's a big name, low PE, like Neil mentioned before. I think it's 6 or something for the forward PE on Micron. It's just a good stock, man. I mean, I feel like on the daily chart, there's been a lot of dip buys. I've been buying SMH, AMD. I haven't. The last time I bought NVIDIA was 272 or something like that. I think it's up to 280 right now. But nice moves in the semis, back up to the upside. I feel like this is going to be a good U.S. story as well. I mean, Micron does have some production here. They did guide forward. They did beat. Nice EPS moves here. It's only up 3%. I feel like it should be up more. Well, now only up 2%. It was up 3% when we made the note. I feel like you buy these dips, man. I mean, anything into here, we talked about that. Anything into 82. I mean, that's the number one thing here. Long the support of 82. It's on the sticky note. We've seen this drop down before. It's very, very hard to come in here and not know which way big money wants to go with this name. I feel like it's had such a big move here from this 78, 79, like this consolidation area, up to 85, 86. Does it get sold off if it touches 86 again? Possibly. This could be a profit-taking situation. I feel like the NASDAQ going up 17% here in the last 11 days. The SMH, I think, is up 20% in the last 11 days. So, yeah, these names have rallied to great extent. I mean, Apple's now up 12 straight days or 11 straight days as well. The market's just on fire, but Micron brought the fire on their report. So you have 86 top here that was made yesterday and made again off the earnings. So we're going to see what happens here with Micron. Did you get a better coffee there, or you just dumped your coffee?
No, I dumped and got a new one.
Okay, good. So we're going to see. I'm going to see about myself getting a new one too as well. But yeah, down here, I like these tops, man. 82. And whenever you get a report that comes out that I feel was pretty good, if smarter guys than me, traders than us, than me for sure, will sell this name back down, then you got to think that like 80 is about as far as this name should go. I mean, I don't see like why we would turn red on the day on a Micron report like this. So, that to me would be golden if you get anything down into here. I'm going to start buying this thing. I already have my bid in here at 83, so we just got missed on it, and that's story of our life, I guess. But it was a little lower than 83.50, so we did get missed by a little bit, like 83.25. So I'm not going to cry over that one. But if it does come in, we do want an 83 long on Micron. I am very, very weary though, and this has happened to me too many times to mention. I believe Neil's happened to as well. Happens to all of us. You guys trading has this happen where you are the one making the high wick because you think something's going to break, or the bottom wick the same way. So I'm going to let Micron settle in the first couple minutes. It's worked genius for me on Tesla the last couple days. We had a couple trades yesterday on Microsoft, on Facebook. And yesterday, remember, Facebook was building that level of 325.50. We were yelling out that level. It ripped up to 330. That was a $4 winner, right? Can we get $4 on Micron? I don't know. But if we come back down into 82, 83, then yeah, we can. It can retrace right back to 85 and change. So I'm going to be a buyer of Micron, just a matter of when. And I don't want to get too excited, as they say, because, hey, this market's going to be in control. I feel like the market, Neil, goes to the downside early here. So I do, and that's why I wrote on here again. And again, just on the sticky note, if you see the bottom, it says Facebook and Microsoft. And I gave some key levels there in case of a doomsday situation of like a down to one. Yeah, I think down like 1.5%, 2% could happen today.
Well, yeah. Well, when you said doomsday, I'm like,
yeah, I'm not talking about down
okay.
like, yeah. I don't think that's in the cards. Could be in the cards Friday, but for today, we could give back some of these gains.
Friday's a different story. To me, Micron, I'll try to keep it simple because Sean already talked about the levels I think we're going to look at. You can't complain about the valuation or anything about the report. But if they couldn't break past the 200-period moving average going into this when the market was rallying, then I find it hard to believe that that it won't support it coming in the other direction after a good earnings report. So that's going to be the line in the sand. As I mentioned, the CEO is supposed to be talking on a different channel at some point. I don't know any details specifically as to when that's going to happen, but then trade, just be cautious if you trade at pre-market. I don't plan on doing so. It's not usually doing enough volume for that.
All right, we'll move on to, I was going to mention Beyond Meat, guys. BYND, UBS initiating at a neutral weighting, but a higher price target. So no reaction, but heads up on BYND as well. Let's go to Lululemon, another one beating top and bottom lines. They really didn't talk too much about supply chain issues, but pretty good report for Lulu.
Yeah, and just quickly, I know we're going to go to Lulu in a second, but DRCT just broke big time. Its all-time high was a 435 all-time high. Just broke that and got to 5 before a little bit of a turn. So if it reverses off this 5, which it looks like it might do, you might look back and see that 450. It's 435 on your daily. That'll show up as that top, and that's just right around here. So I think that's where the dip likely needs to be bought. Might happen, right at the open there, but 435, that's a key price on the way back in. Lululemon, man, talk about again, just talk about probably even better report because the guide was big, and when you're talking about a retail type name, and everyone's throwing the R word around there. We just showed you downgrades on things like Pepsi or on something like Pepsi. and then they're going to throw a big guide up. The only thing that sucks is that it's already up so much, that 7%, because you looked at the level that got broken, that 355. It's a great one on the daily chart. There's still room to the 200, so you could maybe extend that. It's hard to, if we get a down day, it's going to be hard to be buying this off of the top. Now, right now, I just have my bid in front of that 55, which was the level on the daily chart. So if we do get that kind of a dip, I'm locked and loaded and ready to go on Lululemon. A lot of times I'd be thinking about just shorting a move down, but it was too good a report to want that opening short. I just can't do it. There's a lot of room to run, and this stock is going to have a bit of a spread. It's only 50 cents right now. I could definitely see that expanding as we get to the open, and you see the whipsaw action that can happen at that open. You can get a break of 65 down and think it's going to absolutely flush. Next thing you know, you're getting stopped out for $5. I'd rather just say, good report, like where it's at. Let's just take the long if it can give us in front of that 355. It's resistance, potentially turning into support. It hasn't shown that it's support yet, but it hasn't broken that level in a month and a half. So let's see what happens if it gets down to that price. That's what I'm interested for Lulu. If it breaks the top, you'd be taking a breakout into the 200 period, which risk to reward I wouldn't love a lot. So I need to be buying a dip over here in Lululemon. And just gonna quickly come back over and show you if I can. Like this is Nat Gas continuing to run higher, so TEL's starting to work for me in the money, but Nat Gas making a bit of a breakout. Now up 2% and still running here. TEL is just the stock that's been moving the most on the equity side that I've been able to find. Miss V?
Hey guys, welcome everyone. Again, please help us to get 1K likes ASAP. Smash that like button and make sure you're a subscriber of Trader TV Live. Now let's continue with Brandon.
Yeah, let's continue along with the meme stocks. Once again, looking kind of weak here in the pre-market after a couple of just crazy days. Both volume and movement for AMC and GME. Back to the downside. 2% right now for AMC, but I think the bigger headline, so they invested $27 million into Hycroft Mining, HYMC, as of the close yesterday. That $27 million investment in HYMC now worth $69.3 million. So pretty good deal for them.
Yeah, look, opinions aside about whether this going forward is a viable strategy to get the minions on something like an investment that they put in, but hey, it's going to return cash. Imagine they just make a few $100 million doing this over and over again in small cap stocks. That'd be nuts. I think the regulators might have something to say about it, but who cares? At the end of the day, it's going to give us trading opportunities, and I think that's what we're going to be concerned with here. Now, it was whipsaw action galore. I mean, off the open, you had a break, and then just a colossal sort of rug pull that found support, by the way, not quite to. I think a lot of people were looking at 25, and I think just about everybody was like, oh, if it gets to 25, that's going to be your bottom. But really, on the chart, 26.5 did make some more logical sense there. So it's kind of like pie and face. I was looking at GameStop while it happened, and I'm doing the same thing again today. But that 26.50, that's a bit more obvious support. 26.50, 25, it gets down there. I think that's where it can have a bit of a turn. It has not been able to break the afternoon bottom at 28.5 here. You see, even when it rejected 30, it still managed to hold the afternoon high. So as long as we're in this channel, it is still trying to set up for a 30 break. And while that was going on, it broke the pre-market lows, but it didn't take out that 28.50. GameStop did break the afternoon lows there. And it only went in the money about 50 to 60 cents. Like, it didn't go that far. But now we're sitting in the bottom end of the channel for GameStop. And yeah, I got to watch AMC very, very closely here. But as long as we're holding below this 77, 78, there's room down to, you can sort of see this 70 to 72 area, and then 165, which was the granddaddy of all levels. But I did make a bit of a mistake in the read, which is I think why I got shaken out of that trade off the 160 to 165 level. And that's when you go to that daily chart. And I'll zoom in so you can see a little bit better here. When I was playing off of this 160, that 165 on the daily, that's just like the top end of this wick. If you really look at the resistance level, it was 160 to 165 when you look at the daily. It's like a $5 channel. So when it came down and fell, it's not like I should have expected it to bounce off 65. The liquidity really had to take some time to come in, and that's exactly what happened. Like, it broke 65. Liquidity started to come in once it was inside that channel, and then once it got back above, then it held 165. And that's the difference between like a really hard line in the sand and a price area that's sort of generally been held but violated many times, but it's generally held. And when it's generally held, then you want to make sure you treat it as such, and you don't just have a hard stop at a number like a 165. So that was a bit of a mistake by me, and didn't get that good, didn't hold that good entry that we had at the bottom on GameStop yesterday. Won't make that same mistake if it gets into that channel. I'll let it get in, and you have to give it to 160 if it gets down there.
Yeah, no, that's exactly sort of what I was thinking about here with AMC as well, if we're talking about meme stocks. It's just AMC was in, it looks better on a 20-minute chart here. Very similar talk. I mean, these stocks are going to almost go hand in hand. We saw that yesterday when AMC ripped, GameStop did, and vice versa, blah, blah, blah. So, you know, 31 bucks here, obviously taking out the top, I think for AMC is a definite must on a punch long. I just tested. We don't have to pay for shorts, so please check with your broker if you're able to buy shorts or anything like that. If you need them, I don't know. I don't know about going short for me today. I don't mind, like, if we break this 27.50 here, that's going to be indicated for a short for me. But then the last time it happened, it did dip down to 26.50. Okay, but then it stopped and went back up to the upside. So you got to watch out for that move down 26 bottom or so for AMC. So if we do break 27.50, then we have to watch out for that 26 bottom. So watch out for that with AMC coming back into the downside. So that's a name that we're going to look out for on a short. 26 could be the bottom for that. I don't want to go short because we've seen it rip people's faces off. So with that being said, if you go short on AMC or on GameStop, I know you're short. You're short now, right?
Yeah, I'm short.
So have an out. I mean, obviously I just refilled my coffee, so I wasn't here when Neil was talking about that. But obviously there's levels out for him on his GameStop, and it would be the same thing for AMC. So go short at 27. My only push short is this 27.50 when it breaks. Otherwise, I'm much more excited about this long breakthrough 31. And if I do go short this 27.50, just be careful. Remember, it halted in yesterday. I mean, let me just call this up here yesterday. Are my trades even going to be? They're not on here. But we did halt after this dramatic move up. And this is right off the open. It rallied from, and we were long throughout this whole thing. So we crushed AMC. It was my #1 stock yesterday. Really I think we only went long yesterday, to be honest with you. We tried shorts the other day. It didn't work. So we went short. We went long yesterday into this move. And then there's the 27.50 break right here that we're talking about. And there is a very, very temporary, like 2-minute bottom down at 26.50. And then a rip right back up to these highs again. So, you know, you got to respect that 26.50 bottom. If it does take 27.50, we're going to try it again. And if we're lucky enough to get the dollar, then that'd be fantastic. So that's sort of my play for AMC. We'll try to hit that short through 27.50, but I'm really thinking that this long hits and we celebrate throughout. I mean, you might even, now that I'm looking at this, that we're sort of barcoding down here and making a bottom, I'm changing that 31 to 30. So I'm going to go long through 30. I don't mind the long through 29. The problem is it's 14 minutes to go, and I just don't want to mess with an early back and forth here on AMC. I don't want the back and forth. I want the momentum. So if we break 30, that means we have some kind of momentum. And I'm not, there's no way in heck I'm shorting in here in the middle of this. No way. I'd rather just punch the long and see if everybody else gets jiggy with it up to 31.50. So we'll see about that. But I'm going to update my sticky note right now. It says 31 long. I'm going to change it to 30 long just because of that. That area. And we have a bottom, right? And so, okay, just quickly, we said we'd look at the imbalance locator just to see if there's anything exciting on here as we get closer. And unfortunately, I mean, we talked about Chewy. That's not going to do anything to the stock, but 120,000 shares short for that. DD, obviously the big Chinese delist. Yeah, you know, back up to $3. 400,000 is not much for that name either. Probably not moving. DD. I'm not even going to talk about it because I don't want to get involved with that. And then other than that, oil. We talked about buying the XLE yesterday. Oil is now up 4%, so that's going to print today as well. I believe oil is going to still be a hot trade for 2022 to the long side. I think you buy any dips in oil. But today is Wednesday, right? So we have oil coming out.
Day.
The inventory, hump day and inventories coming at 10:30. So that should get spicy. I have to change.
Well, more importantly, inventories.
Yeah, exactly. I have to change my. Apparently, if you hit your shift, so this is just an update for Day Trade the World people. A couple, I guess it was with Echo. So right now, I think it was the last version. You hit shift all, escape, like you try to cancel all your keys, or whatever your cancel all key is, it will cancel script orders. Which doesn't make sense. But I figured it out. I believe mass cancel does not, like, how does that make any sense? What's the difference between cancel all and mass cancel, first of all? But mass cancel apparently doesn't cancel your script orders. So I'm going to change that right now. And what a script order is like my and Neil's, our stop orders, like our orders to say, if it breaks 30, go long, right? So I never want that canceled.
I think I know what the difference is.
What?
So I'm 95% sure about this. So cancel all probably cancels everything on that, like North American stocks. If you're trading North American equities, it probably only cancels all your North American equities.
No, but it's more about the script order,
But
though.
mass cancel probably cancels like in futures, Europe, like everything you have out there.
Wait a
regardless
second,
of
is
market.
that true?
I'm guessing that's the only thing that makes intuitive sense to me.
Oh, man.
Now we're just talking day trade the world.
Yeah,
so.
no, I just want to let people know that there was a change there in the cancel keys a couple of times.
But that's
ago,
a good point
and
because
I'm trying to fix my keys and
when you have scripts, you don't want to accidentally cancel your stop order. Like that's a really big deal.
Yeah.
right?
And I know we're going to cover some more stocks here, but that's just a little bit. You have to know your platform. That's the first thing, and clearly I don't. So what's up, Brendan?
Just a heads up, guys. If you're watching Micron, the CEO, finally on CNBC. RIVN, monster day yesterday for Rivian. Back to the upside here. We got back above that $50 level and then some. Yeah, we're down here this morning, but there was noticeable strength in individual EV names yesterday.
It was, and we're going to talk just right before we get into Rivian. I have to do this because you probably saw me like a couple of times take a sip and be like the coffee wasn't that good, and so I got to shout out to it's ridiculous because we have some.
Where's my coffee?
We have some new traders on the floor behind us, and like David hears this, or maybe Greg said something, and goes to Tim Hortons and grabs me a coffee. So thank you very much.
Wow, David.
That's like really, you didn't have to do that, but I'll take it because I've had way less coffee than normal because I don't know. Sometimes when you have a machine,
by the way.
it's like the quality just is. It's good, and then sometimes it's just bad for a few cups. But Rivian 55, if you watched the afternoon show, it couldn't break 54 until a buy and bounce came out. It snapped up, rejected 55 even. If we're going to get a red day, it's been on such an absolute tear. It just feels like today is the day. I want the pop and fade 54, but I also like that 55 level. The only two trades I have for Rivian. But if we do get to 50, we know the thing about even numbers, and you saw what it did in the afternoon. It dipped back down to 50 from 53, held it like an absolute champ. That's where the real big breakout happened on more volume. The bigger break was on volume at 50 even. So it gets down to that price, I think it can be a bit of a long. But I'm looking for the pop and fade and Rivian off 54. If that doesn't work, then I want to short 55 as well. I'm sending best wishes to Tony. Tony's not apparently feeling all that well today, so he won't be in.
Yep, Tony's already messaged me. Okay, so 13. So yesterday we had Rivian again. At Trader TV, Sean, the sticky notes there. You can go check that out. I think too far, too fast on Rivian, and I'm with you. I'm shorting. The Martyr's already in there to short 54, 55, all that kind of jazz. So yesterday we absolutely destroyed Fisker. You guys know that. You saw that play as well yesterday. Going, my trades are going to be on here. Yeah, going long here through 1305 up to 1330. Some good outs there. And again, we talk about destroyed. It's a matter of share size. But you're looking at that 1340, which was topped out yesterday, and then back in here today. So Fisker's another name that's going to be on a little bit of watch. I think it's going to be a short. Like I said, I think a lot of these EV names have just gone a little too far, too fast. Tesla's ramped up, and we know what Tesla's all about. I just feel like until Fisker produces, which they're going to, I mean, they're on track to produce in November, I believe. So, this is going to be a good name. But look at some of these moves in the EV space. I mean, it's just been a nice move off. It doesn't look nice here because it's been so high up, but nice moves off some of these bottoms, $10 up to 13. So that's 30% in about a week and maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks, 30%. So a lot of these stocks are going crazy. There's that Rivian level. Neil just talked about it, so I'm not really going to do too much about it, but I really like the shorts into here. So 54, 55. I'm already all over the offer, actually starting it at 53. So if Rivian pops up a little bit, your boy's going to be all over that one, shorting Rivian like crazy. I think Tony did eat too much pepperoni, Valeria. I think that's probably true. So, he's having a pepperoni day today. So we'll see what happens here with Toronto Tony.
I'm a little confused.
Tequila Tony.
Tequila?
Travolta Tony.
What's
Are we not going back to
What's up with the pepperoni, though?
I don't know. Valeria put that in there. Tony ate too much pepperoni.
Oh.
Because Tony Pepperoni, I'm guessing. So that might be another name made by Miss V. I don't know if that's from the chat or what. But why don't we go over to Miss V, because I think we need to get a couple calls here for some likes. Are we not doing a good job, guys? Let's go and see what Miss V has to say. She's also in green, which means this market eventually will turn positive, guys.
Yes, guys, I'm doing my best. My contribution into profitable day for you wearing green. And yeah, there are some rumors that Tony is sick today, so that was my suggestion, that Tony ate too much pepperoni yesterday. But guys, please make sure you smash the like button, and Tony will see that and will feel much better as soon as possible. Let's go to Brandon.
All right, BioNTech on the list as well this morning, guys. BNTX reported in the pre-market. They also said that they're going to expand a trial on more mRNA-type vaccines for Omicron specifically. So BNTX notable up the past couple of days, in fact. Wanted to mention DRCT. I'll give you my take here. All-time highs, obviously above that, as Neil was mentioning. 2.5 million share float. That's all you need to know, in my opinion. So I just took the break long, up to 5. I'm only going to be long DRCT, but hard to avoid that kind of volume this morning, guys.
Yeah, also ADGI here, Adagio Therapeutics starting to rip up here again. We've seen these bottoms come through of 370. Now you're ripping around like crazy here, 570 and change. ADGI, watch out for this bottom, man. I mean, 570 is right here. That's what you're going to look for in any kind of a short on ADGI coming through. So 570, 574 on a break to the downside of this name. Watch out. We've already been up to 680 here today. Big time movements on ADGI starting to go. I like this break, man. I mean, a break of 620 right here. Get back through. Again, I'm going to call all this garbage. Get back through all this. Either you break down to the downside, which has a lot of retracement potential, or you break through this 620 and it's off to the races up to the 680 again. So I'm going to play the 620 break. It's the VWAP is 625, which makes me think it's probably a short. But again, we've seen a lot of these names start to get going here and move. And why, again, it's a big move up. We can zoom out. You're not going to see too many levels here in the last couple of days anyways. I just looked at the daily chart for all you traders out there that like to do that. The high we've gotten to before was 10 and change. So that, it hasn't really been back up here since, what was this day? Actually, I guess it's the beginning of March. Beginning of March, the high here was about 7, let's call it 650 to $7 here. So, if you're going to take some of these longs, I think you trim it around that 7. But, when names are popping, when names just closed my chart there. When names are popping like this, and again, higher after its COVID drug test, ADG 20 has met some filing restrictions or limitations here. And then now we're going to find out if they can get that exactly approved. So it's a nice move up for ADGI, but I got to reopen my 1-minute chart.
Yeah, and DRCT just made another run at $5 there. It's a tumultuous trading there. I only saying that word because Pranoia in the chat with tumultuous Tony for nicknames. I mean, that's getting creative. I don't know. That's too much of a tongue twister. It's got to be easy like Tony the Tiger. But the tumultuous moves up and down here. And you can see, if you're sitting in this trade, it's pretty obvious what you're looking for in DRCT. If you're long, you need it to break 5, and you probably have a stop at 450. And if you're short, your stop is at 450, and you need it to maybe break down to 420. But the daily chart, 435 is a key level. I think it has a decent chance to bounce there. If I was looking for a long, that's where I'd probably look for it. I think it's easier to have a stop there and give it like down to 420, just a few shekels in beneath that price. $5 does set up for an obvious break. I do not love these when they break out right at 930. Sometimes you get that rug pull, so you want to make sure you're trading that stock and on that level too, in case it whips up and then comes back down. Tellurian, I did mention that we're in this one, Nat Gas making a move. It had a bit of a pullback, and I think that's why you're seeing this consolidation here in TEL. I'll zoom a little bit further back. It's trying to get through yesterday's pre-market highs, right? So it might run into some chop going into it, but I'm on the offer all the way up to 550, and you can sort of see, like a couple of days ago, this is where the second stage of the pullback happened. So if it can't run past this 550, and oddly enough, Nat Gas 550 is a resistance level as well. Okay, so that's going to be pretty easy. If Nat Gas gets above 550, I think we should be above 550 on TEL. That's going to make it really easy to track these two.
I'm just gonna screen cap this and tweet this out because we do like, and again, it's gonna be AMC. I do really like this level here at $30. So let's wait to see here if that can break here near 30 on AMC. So we'll circle it. We'll do this. Follow me at Trader TV Sean. Try to explain here why I like the stock and why I like those levels. So we'll see if it breaks that $30. We did have 31 written on the sticky note, but right now we're gonna watch that 30. And then we just did talk also about it breaking down below that level from yesterday, which is right here, this 2750, which came almost immediately after the halt. So you can see right there, the halt comes in, dances around, then has that one move. Like basically the halt happens and then nothing happens. Like the halt came through and then we just danced around 28 to 30, I guess, which is, I mean, it's funny to say nothing happened. I mean, it still moved around 8, 9, 10% there. But then it finally broke 28 and then stopped at that 26.50. And I feel like right into there, 27.50 means a little something because we bounced off of it earlier or later, I guess, yesterday, but later in the day at 10.30. So we're going to look at that if for a short. So I would think that if you're playing longs right now on AMC, you have about $1 worth of a cushion to the downside is what I'm going to say now. So if you're long on AMC, I would definitely watch out for that 27.50 to come through. So we've added that to the sticky note at Trader TV, Sean, and our watch list, tradertv.live, if you're looking for ways to get ahead of the game here today and names that we're possibly trading. I know Neil tweets out some stuff. There's Bros, or that's not Bros, that's BRQS. Bros is a good stock that's been moving. Bros is on NASDAQ or on New York. I want to check here because we got the NASDAQ update at 9.55 or 9.25, not 3.55. SNDL with a small sell, that's a name that we often look at. And then other than that, there's nothing. So I think it's going to be just a Micron AMC kind of day for me. We do have Rivian topside that we're looking at for a short. Lululemon, we talked about that a little bit. I want to see that come back into 350. I'm just looking at my note right here. And then Robinhood is another name that we like on the short side if and when it starts to rally up through 16, guys.
And by the way, Oxy, I wish I had that as a goal with Tell, but that just broke out at the high. I'm on the bid trying to catch the dip as usual on Oxy at 47.5. I guess that's not going to happen. PayPal as well if it can dip, but that's also starting to go. We love PayPal on that daily time frame. It just looks absolutely fantastic off that 120-ish area for a bit of a break. Ms. V, she's in the green. The market's trying to bounce, 0.5% down. Let's see if we can't get this one to the upside, but time to drop the countdown. She's in the green. Let's get this rally hopefully continued.
Yes, sir.
5, 4, 3, 2, and ring it, Ms. V.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. We've already got our plan of action here as the NASDAQ's starting to go a little bit to the upside, so we're going to watch out for that. Robinhood fading real fast right now. We thought we'd get a chance up near 16. I don't really have a short push here for Robinhood, maybe a 15 break, but let's let this one settle down.
So tale of two stories. Like one, I'll show you like immediately GameStop pumps and like just broke that range to the upside. So it's going to wick me out. If we get back below 175, then I've made the top wick like a bit of a sucker. The other move that just happened was Tellurian just broke through 25 and is now starting to run even further. But it's starting to pull back here. So if we get a nice little dip, we might be able to get the same prices we were just able to get in the pre-market, those 5 teens. And if that's going to happen, that could also mean that Oxy's not on the Amex. Occidental could be giving us a little bit of a dip. Load up here. 57.50 is still the target, but it's trying to dip into 58. I'm just going to do this so you can see real time here. It did a push to the upside. Now starting to come back here to 58. I've been on the bid at 57.5. That has probably sailed. We'll see if we can be patient with this, but I would love to be able to get a shot below 58 to get part of this rally. And DRCT at $5 right now.
And there goes Micron taking out 86. Like I said, whoa, big size there. Wow, I just got chewed up. There was a big size there at 86, got chewed up. Micron for the win, basically, if you took any of those bids, but again, not near any of our levels. We did talk about 86 being key for that one, but that's about as easy as you can find right there on that short. I don't want to short it. It stopped at 86 there. So we'll now wait to see if it comes back in. Obviously, if you take longs, you got to get something out at 86 the next time it comes back up, and it might be a good, decent breaker spot there. But look what's happening with the NASDAQ, up and down and just floating. So right now, we don't have any positions on. I did just look at Softy to try to take out this 415.50. That didn't happen, but if we ever get any love back in here for Microsoft around 314, well, I guess 314 flats right here now. But I'm just looking at some of these levels here, 313, 313.70, something like that for Microsoft. But again, I'm not certain on what this day is going to bring. So we got to wait to see where this market goes from here. But right now, in nothing, AMC dancing around 28 as well.
Yeah, PayPal picked me up there at 121 on that first little dip. I still like it to about 119.50, but if it's going to give some scalp trades into 122.50, it's the kind of trade that I want to be holding on to a little bit longer, especially if we can try to hold it all day long. Kind of similar to what Facebook was doing. And you just said Rivian, it's like, give me a break. Sometimes it doesn't give you the pop and fade. It only gives you the second part of that equation, which is the rollover. And then, of course, remember I showed you guys GameStop? It gets below that 175. We had the short on. And then you see it try to go upside, does stop me out, then comes right back below. But here's the other context that AMC has dropped below that 28.5. and it was continuing to fall. So it's still below. So what I want to do now is get myself into a position that I can kind of try to hold on to a little bit further. So I'm going to be a little bit lighter to start it and then try to work into it. As long as AMC is below that 28.5, 29 level, I was able to get, like I said, PayPal on the dip, did not get any Micron, and did not get any Occidental, which, yeah, that's already at 59. So this one's just, it's gone. Oxy's completely gone. You can pretty much forget about catching any dip buys on that. Thankfully, Tel's running, but Oxy, what a missed opportunity.
Yeah, we're right now, we've got Micron, 30 cents in the money. We got Microsoft, 30 cents in the money as well. We did pick up those Micron dips, guys. We are waiting at 84.30 here to get some out on Micron. So let's see what happens if it starts to go up to the upside here for Micron. There it is, a nice little take on 35s. 50-cent winner right there on Micron. We wanted those bids, man. It came right down to 83. We were waiting lower than that, but you know, we kept our eye on it, tried to watch it. I don't know if it's going to work or not because I was not expecting that, but there's that dump off from 86. So right now we're long Micron. We're long Micron right here at 83.80. So let's see where we go. Microsoft, again, another long. We just took a little bit of profit on the first part. Now we're going to go to the upside here. Microsoft long third. 314.50. We called that out for you, and here it goes now, back up to the upside. Micron's coming back down again, so let's see if we can reload a little bit on this name. We like the long here, so let's give it a go. Microsoft, again, the other one that we have. Unfortunately, I don't know if you're back into GameStop or not, but
I'm back in.
Okay, because AMC's not really doing anything right now, so yeah, let's go to Brendan quickly.
Big pop, guys, on Chewy through pre-market highs there, back above 45. Monster volume on the open there for Chewy.
We talked about that.
Yeah.
Possibly taking out some of those tops there on Chewy. But for right now, I got 99 problems, and Chewy ain't one. Because right now we have Microsoft and we have Micron in what could be a falling NASDAQ here. Let's wait to see. Did we just make a top? I don't know. We're not in trouble with any of these positions. There goes Micron right back up to the upside. Let's take another piece off on another reload. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. Let's go. We just got that 83.20 on Micron, guys. And that's what I mean. Like, I'm not going to just keep looking at all these different names. When we already know what we're doing, we might as well just hit the names that we're trading, right? So Micron, ripper. Microsoft, ripper. We've got these ones going right now, so let's just continue to trade them. We will keep an eye on AMC.
Yeah, my God, Oxy's just super strong. Neo also made a bit of a pop there. I was just looking at Chewy. There is a chance it can put a little bit of a dip that we can catch. Neo just broke out at $22 as well. It's in managed position time. I've got the PayPal trade now on, and 119.50. That's the level I like. And when I put it on a higher time frame, we should show it on a higher time frame. This is your breakout on PayPal, and as long as it's above that price, then I want to be long more or less all day long. So the market is holding up rather nicely, and I like the chance of buying the dip on a stock that's breaking back out. Tellurian, we're almost all out of Tellurian. It just got to that 550 mark, like 543 here. Hasn't really broken out, but looks like that one's going to go along with oil, just rip into the upside.
Ooh, wow, Micron. I mean, what else do we need to do, guys? You know, that's what it is. It's all over the sticky note. It's all over our watch list, and your boy's all over this. Micron right now, $2 in the money. I mean, that's exactly the levels we wrote down. These are exactly what we said, man. If that gets down to 83, we wanted to load that boat back up, and there's $2 for you on Micron back up to the upside. Let's see where we go, man. Our last fill, 83.20. We just touched out at 85.20. So a nice little $2 move. We're going to have to watch that as the market now is starting to come back in, right? So will it give us another opportunity to reload these 83s? Maybe. The problem is, man, we can't just keep on testing bottoms all the time. Eventually, bottoms are going to break. So we do know that if the market gets spicy to the upside, Micron is the name that we want to get into. So let's watch out to see what happens here as we're starting to fall back in. Chewy's starting to come back to life. Again, still down that 14% now on Chewy as my eyes are going everywhere trying to find you guys some different opportunities right now. But Rivian got, man, that one already tank citied on us. That's down to 52. We wanted that 54 short. Now it's trying to battle back a little bit. It hit 51.80 Rivian.
We'll hit this one. We'll do a little spike action because there's more news coming out of the NFL. And maybe Patrick Mahomes getting a new weapon. I like to see that if it does happen. But GameStop, we said when we got back in, we'd have to start a little bit lighter so that we could allow it to pop a bit further. Like if I think it's going down to 70 and then maybe down to 65, those levels on the 15-minute chart, then the early stop was maybe just a little bit too tight. So now we can sort of hold on to it. And just a clarification, like I said, I like a long at 160, so I would be all out at about 65 if this falls down there because I want to test a long at 160, which you can't do if you're short, right, Brendo?
Another former, no, you can't. Another former runner here, ISIG, low float name, 1 million, on the float for ISIG popping up here, guys. 23% so far on big volume.
Okay, yeah, I just asked Neil who it was, DK Metcalf.
But also maybe Brandon Cooks, please.
We'll see. We'll see what happens there. Okay, so Micron again on any dips down. We've already identified what we want here. Okay, Microsoft, we just got in again to softy. We have a 312.50 area here that we're looking at for some sort of support here. It could easily break. There's no doubt about that. If you go back over to yesterday's chart here on Microsoft, and again, you know, just in case this market falls, I actually said to some of the traders there that I thought this was going to be a weekday in the market, so I don't need to be sitting here and holding anything. Maybe a 312 break on Microsoft, and we'll get out of there, but we want to try to average into this position if we can. We're only long right here at 313.70, so it's not the end of the world. We are trying to hold on to a little bit of this. We have a monster day already, guys. Micron's $1.70 in the money, and if this Microsoft goes, then we're really cooking with gas. So let's just see if Microsoft wants to get back up to the upside, and then we can do a little bit of a dance for you. But right now, this is what it is. We have to watch these stocks as they're starting to just move around here. The NASDAQ's coming back down, trying to retest some of these pre-market bottoms, and if we take that out, man, then just watch out. Like, you have to find a short somewhere. I'm not in any. AMC's getting near that 27.50 mark. I know you're short GME, so that's, I hope it's falling as well.
It's working well, but I mean, I want a short I want to find a short that I like that, on a name that's moving with the market, right? I don't have any of those. And, you know, Chewy, it tried to get back down to 43 bottom. I think as long as it's above 43, it has a chance for that squeeze, but it just put a wick off top in there, breaking through 44.5 and then slamming back down. If it holds below 44, that is usually a pretty bearish look. So watch out for that 44 level if it comes down here on Chewy. I might take like a quick little short, although I didn't check to see if we have free locates. I assume we do. If it can hold below there for any time, I might just put that in with a 44 half stop, because that is a pretty bearish candle, but I did not check for locates. And the other thing too is there's a spread opening up from time to time. And as I was complaining about it, like I didn't get anything, Rivian popped in. So
it did?
Sometimes you should just whine and complain about things, but it just popped into that 54. So yeah. I guess we can pick up a short, and I'll show you what this one looks like on the 15-minute. Like, you saw what it did yesterday. It could not break 54 until it was at the imbalances. And when the imbalances came out, there was a small buy imbalance. It popped up to 55. It was a pretty good short, 54.80s, right back in. So looking for the same thing. Pop and fade just took 10 minutes.
Yeah, we're all over Rivian. Yeah, we're all over Rivian as well. We've got 53.90s right here on Rivian. Let's see what happens here. Is it going to blow up to the upside? We were looking at this 54, and I couldn't believe the way this name just went to the downside here early. But we're okay with it, man. We have another average coming up here on Rivian to the upside. If it does continue to rip up, man, we're going to sit here and wait for this one. I mean, to me, it's got to break at least 55. So Rivian getting ready to go. But yeah, guys, we're just cashing, man. We're printing cash right now on Micron as it's all the way up to 85.50 right now. This is a $2 change winner. We're going to wait to see if it gets to 86, man. If 86 comes through on Rivian, or sorry, on Micron, then we're going to get out ahead of that. So here we go. We're going to try to let this one run. For some reason, Microsoft right now just wants to test that 312.50, like I was mentioning there. So if that comes into the bottom, we will load back a little bit more on that one. And we got to get some more short on Rivian. It just popped to 54.20. We were waiting at 54.50 there. So here comes Rivian back down to the downside as expected.
Yeah, and here comes PayPal as well. So we get that bid in front of the last one in front of 120. 119.50 is going to be my out. That's where my stop is. So we got a $121.50 worth of risk. You can probably guess I want to take some out at an average of 122, quarter to half. As long as we're not breaking that high, I want to try and rinse and repeat off this level and then hopefully get that breakout. So Rivian's starting to come back in. GameStop starting to fall again. And then the longs we have are starting to try to work here. Yeah. All's well that ends well. It hasn't ended well, but it starts well. Brendo.
XPeng, guys, moving on decent volume as well. 6% so far, straight to the upside. Not seeing anything on this. Again, we should get delivery numbers from the Chinese EV makers this week at some point, but nice move for XPeng so far.
I'll say, we're just saying, didn't even have any orders out on Chewy. That's what happens here. I'm in 4 stocks, and granted, 2 of them were even pre-market. I just got another leg out there on GameStop, so I guess we'll ring some registers or do whatever it is that we're supposed to do. It's just frustrating because you knew you didn't want to sleep on some of these earnings plays, right? I'm just going to adjust my stops because I have fewer shares. That would be a pretty cool feature that I've already asked about. Imagine you could put a stop order in, and as you reduce your position, it automatically reprices the amount of shares in your stop. That'd be pretty cool. But Rivian, we didn't really talk about targets. Once we're through 54, I want to have about 40% out, and then down towards these pre-market support levels, 52.5, another quarter. And you want to hold something for that 51.5 to 50 area, which could come into play. Obviously, it's shown some relative strength, but you've got to give it back. And if it gets to 50, that's a monster level. You get to 50, I think it can be at least an attempt at a long.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if Rivian goes to 50, then hallelujah for that one. We're holding on to our short. We just did cash out a little bit there. We're short at 53.90. We talked about it. We just got out at 53.40, so we just take 50 cents there on Rivian, and we're only out at 20%. So we're going to try to hold that. Look, if Micron comes back up into 84.20 or so, I mean, we were waiting at 85.80, so we missed that print. It only goes to 85.50 there. So we'll wait in the 20s and 30s to get a piece out on Micron for that $2 winner. Right now, Microsoft is struggling a little bit, so we'll have to wait to see if it can get back upside. We're only 40 cents out of the money, but still, now 30 cents, now 20 cents as it's starting to go back to the upside. So we do like that name for sure. I want to check back in on Robinhood. I haven't gotten in. Like right now, AMC's not doing anything. I know Neil's gone back and forth with GameStop, but it's not doing much. We did like the Robinhood short. Unfortunately, we didn't take it early enough. I'm sitting here on Robinhood at 15.90. It's just, it didn't get up there. It only got to 15.75 in the pre-market before dumping. So that was nothing that I was really overly concerned with. But so far so good here today. As Microsoft battling back upside, we're now flat on the trade. What's up, Brendo?
Yeah, action elsewhere today, guys, including in Affirm, just popping back up on volume here. Took out 49, the high from yesterday, on decent volume, up 3% for AFRM.
That hasn't, we talk about things being a short till they're not. That one turned into a not, and just never tried the long on it. That's what I'm seeing with the firm. And normally I'd be saying to myself, it gets to $50, that's a no-brainer. Well, I'll be a little bit more cautious with it. I'll watch it if it gets to 50. If I see a level or maybe even some size or a curl once it gets there, fine. That's what it's kind of doing right now. But it's been super, super strong. I think you have to be at least a little bit cautious with it. PayPal, it just got into that 122, so was able to get some out. But if we break the high, remember, I'm going to take shares out on the way to the high of the day, but the intention is to hold the second half for a breakout, and that's because of what I see on the daily chart, right? It's just, there's room to 125, then from there there's room to 130, and if we do get a green day, it's just poised. Facebook was sort of set up this way, and I think we're set up the same way on PayPal today. GameStop cannot seem to get to this 170 level. It gets down to 171, 172 here, and then just keeps bouncing, but the trend is still okay to the downside. But I think once you get through 170, that's where it has a chance to flush into that 65-ish range. And if you watch AMC, it's just easier for me to do this and flip the charts for you guys. This is AMC breaking 27.50. The other thing to keep in mind, 26.5, big level for AMC. If it makes a base there, then it's almost like wherever GameStop might be, that could be time to take it out because 26.50 comes first. Before GameStop gets to 165, I might just get out in that regard.
And this is for you, as a Rudin. Bang! Because anybody long AMD right now, holy crow, all the way to the upside, 125.50 for AMD, man. And again, we are just minting cash today. Microsoft, big time move back up to the upside there. We got those out at near 314. We're still holding on to a little bit. Let's see if it comes back and gives us that reload, man. Micron, unfortunately, we didn't get. We got a decent amount out, but we didn't get out enough up to the upside. But look at Rivian right now. Rivian is Print City down to the downside. Again, this was a good name for us. And by the way, trade alert, we are now into our boy AMC. So let's go over there quickly if we can. There it is. There's that short that we wanted through 27.50. I assume that you're making some cash on that GME right now. As AMC to the downside, we're only short 44. Let's see what happens. We talked about just trying to get this out quickly, man. The last time this happened, we did retrace, man, all the way back to 28. So let's watch out for AMC now coming back in to the downside. I don't want to hold this too much. If we take out 28, maybe 38 later, then we'll get out of this one. But see how it's not really reacting through this level?
There we go.
So let's see what happens here. Hopefully the flush is on now for AMC, but I guess I got to watch some GME to see exactly what's going on.
We'll go Superman because there we go, right through 170 on GameStop. So it's now about 6 or 7 in the money. The other story is back to 53 on Rivian. So we're going to hold out, like we said, down for some at 52. But there was, I don't want to be all celebration here because I just looked back at Lululemon. Remember we talked about missing Chewy and some of these earnings plays, sitting on the bid in front of 56 with a 55 stop on Lulu. It bounces at 58.5. It's right back up 10 bucks. So every now and then that's going to happen to you. You have a target area where you want to get in. I like the dip buy on Lulu. I didn't want to short it, but I did not get into that long. And wow, what a long it is. I'm canceling the bid because if it were to fill me now, it would have to drop $10, break the low of the day. That's not those aren't the conditions you wanted. You wanted to get it in the chaos at the open and catch that dip buy. And that's clearly come and gone. I have not really gone over TEL too much because it didn't break 550. And it hasn't come back to give us 515. So the trend is still to the upside. Nat Gas even holding close to that 550 high on its own. So there's no reason to be getting out of this trade, and also no reason yet to get that dip buy. And PayPal now through 122 on the way to its high of the day. That's turning as well, Brendo.
Another little tiny biotech stock up on earnings, surprisingly. VYNT making a move back towards 2 here on decent volume after better than expected report.
All right, so we are, as I said here about our boy AMC here, we didn't like to be short, but we tried that little test. So we're going to try to take advantage of it if it breaks, or not take advantage, but we're going to get out if it takes this 2780 out. And then now if we have that bottom again, it's actually not a horrible thing for us because now if it can take out this like 2840 or so, that's a nice little long for us there. So we'll wait to see. We're going to get out if it takes out 2780, but then I do like that 2840 if it does push here back up to the upside now that we've based out a little bit. So, we'll take an L on this one, but like I said, that was kind of the short. I mean, it's not out yet, but if it does break that 2780, then we're going to get out. But I do like a 28, what did I just give that out? 2840 there here. We're not out of this trade yet. I mean, we're short at 2750, it's right here. But 2840 is the long that I like on this name. So if it does get back in, I'm just putting the order in now to go long on AMC if that comes through. So, but otherwise, we'll wait for it now. We have our out 2780. It almost pushed it right there, so we're gonna have to wait on that one. Micron coming back in, man. Hopefully this will come up to that 85.20. We'll be able to get out. Rivian, we got short again. We reloaded it and we got out, so now we're waiting for that to fall through. And then Microsoft, a 60-cent winner right now on board for that name. So we're gonna have to watch out to see if the market continues to make moves higher here, which should print us in softy.
Yeah, I actually missed that last move from Rivian. Kicking myself for because it bounced off that 54 one more time. If it comes up there again, you got to be able to play this range because it's $1 back and forth into 53. I did just get the next leg out on PayPal as well. It's GameStop that I got to get over to because AMC just made a turn. I think you were just talking about that turn that AMC made at 27.5 instead of 26.5. And GameStop was well on the way to 165, 166, and then did this bit of a pullback. So as much as the short worked out, we had that wick off the open. And I was like, I hate getting wicked out, but if it still sets up, you gotta grit your teeth, man, and just say if the trade you want it sets up, you've just got to jump back into it, right? It's just that's part of the game. You take the hit, you move on. But at this point, I can't let this thing hold a bid above 170 too long. But I am watching AMC still below 28, and as long as that does not break back out to the upside, the short still feels pretty valid to me, and the trend is still to the downside. I want to get back over to both Rivian, but cannot lose track of Chewy. There's been some opportunities that were missed in Chewy. You don't want to miss out on this because it just broke 44, but could not get back to the lows. There are some signs of strength in Chewy for potential breakout, and you don't want to miss it if it does squeeze. Brendo?
More low float action. ISPO just popping up on decent volume back to 9.5. Watch ALLG as well. They typically move together.
Back up to the upside here. Okay, so just an update right now. We'll go bang again because there's Micron. Take that $2, man. On that name, we got out at 85.20 right there. You can see that tick. Or no, sorry, we got out at 27 or so right there. Yeah, 26.27 on Micron. So another great trade, man. That's 83.20 out 85.20. So a good trade there for me on MU. We'll see where it rocks and rolls. We are obviously still sitting here in that short of AMC. Microsoft right now as well. We did get a couple outs here. Microsoft's a positive name for us today. But again, with this market kind of just dancing, I still think we have upside coming here in the market. So I don't want to discount that as a possibility still, that we take out 315 again for Microsoft. That was our initial position. We got to see where it goes. We are just kind of licking our wounds here. We're actually flat on AMC right now. It just came back into 55. And again, we're just like I said, when we took that 50 break, we started getting some out, 35s, 36s, and things like that. So we were making a dime on it. So now that it's against us a dime and it's come back in, we're able to take a little bit out. I'm still holding 45% of the position, hoping now for a little bit of a downside move. So let's see if it's coming back in now. And then Rivian, by the way, let's go on that one, man. This is another name that's right on our sticky note. Spin the money on this, man. Back down to 53 bucks. We're all over this. We're short Rivian now, 54. It's down to 53. This is a name that we like. And there goes AMC right back to the downside. We're at the highest spot we've been at all day, guys. Pretty good day here.
And someone just asked in the chat, why is Oxy going down? I just checked, and oil futures still holding that 108 at the top. So my answer to you is I'm not really sure. I know I'm in Tell, and that just came back halfway, but not all the way. The way I see it, we just bounced off 58. I was looking for a dip buy to 57.5. This might just be an opportunity because I'm not really seeing anything sort of obvious here. I don't want to chase this too far. Oh, give me a break. I'll get some at 40 here, and then maybe try to get some back at 58.40, and then try to get some back at 58 even. Just not to chase the move too far on Oxy, but I did not see a pullback in oil. And if it's been super strong, it's going to give you that dip buy. I'm going to try and take advantage of it. We're back below that 170 mark on GameStop. Remember I said I might have missed an opportunity there. AMC's right back at that low of the day. This is one of those moments where you've just got to be able to cross the spread. Didn't get out. Why did I? Oh my goodness.
Oh,
Yeah,
God. That's the problem for me with that
I just did one of those accidental longs, like you put two bids. I went to cross the spread, and the spread opened up, so I ended up bidding, and I went to cross it again, and then of course both fill at the same time.
Yep.
So when that happens, just get out flat if you can. But when I see it get to that low, bounce again, and then watch AMC sort of off of that 27.50. If the target was 65, and we get halfway from that 70 to 65, I'm just going to take it out. Take the profit and run and move on to the next trade. And when I saw the opportunity in Oxy, it was almost like it doesn't mean it has to go up, but if you like the stock for a certain direction in the morning, for let's say a dip buy or a breakout, and then its leading indicator is still looking relatively strong and it pulls right back into the same level, then the trade should still be valid. Like nothing is really changed with Oxy that I could see. I didn't get everything because I felt like we liked 57.5 better, so I wanted to wait for 58. I'll get some out in front of VWAP here and then look to see if I can't buy the dip. I would do the same thing in Tellurian if it had come back to my price, but that never did.
Okay, so funny thing that just happened there on AMC. We were getting out at the bottom there, and then it just ripped. So I think you got out good on GameStop because, yeah, it just ripped up there on AMC. We just got printed at 30 downside, and then one candle up ripped it right up to our 80 level, and we got out. So that's fine. Net, we're going to lose on the stock, but we were able to, honestly, man, get on this fall back down. We were sitting there at 27.30, and we were able to get out, just like you did a little bit there out completely there on GameStop. We were able to get out and then lessen that blow. And I just went back into the short. I mean, it just ripped up like crazy there into this move. We're going to get out of this one on a 28 break. It's about as simple as that. We still are waiting for this 28.40 to go. If that, I mean, look how fast these names go, right? So if that can come in, man, we will short one more time. Or sorry, we'll go long through 28.40, my bad, on that one. So that's what we're going to do here. If it does decide to take that level out, 28.40 is the next level. But right now we'll go short out of this one when it breaks 28, man. I'm just setting my orders up to go long through 28.40. So there it is. We're now out of AMC. The only losing stock we have on there, and again, of course, because we're short AMC, I said that at the beginning, like how many times are we going to short this name and lose on it? So we don't want to do that right now. But there it is. It just took out 28. Let's let it settle down. We pegged that 27.50 level, which was actionable, man. There was a dance around there, but then it took off. We just got out at 28. Right there at VWAP. Let's hold it for the longs now of a 28.40 break. Possible reload situations maybe coming in Rivian. That's my number one stock. Well, Micron's my number one stock-wise, net-wise, but what's right behind it here is Rivian. So I've made more on Rivian and Microsoft as individual stocks than we lost on AMC, but still, a loser's a loser, and we don't like to put those on.
And just the market context here, I'm going to throw that up here as I'm going over PayPal, but we're not really doing a heck of a lot. I think that's why you got to be in what is actually moving here. Jump to some energy names there, trading some of the meme names, Rivian, because Neil's going nuts and EV names starting to go. You're not doing anything. You're essentially in a 50 to 60 point range in the NASDAQ anyways, and we're basically down less than 0.5% and going back and forth. So all of the trades that I like from the morning, they're still valid. The direction hasn't moved in the market one way or another to invalidate them. GameStop short aside because it was a hard bottom made in both of those, but PayPal's still pretty good. I am now at a half of it. It has not been able to break out that high. It's either a reload in front of 20 or we break out at 23. It's become very binary. Oxy, we got that first leg out, and now we're looking to see if it's going to give a bit of a dip buy. This is what it looks like on the higher time frame, which I should have shown you the first time. This is where it's breaking out from, this 57.75. That's why I like down here a heck of a lot better with Occidental, but plenty of room to the upside if it wants to go. And I was told CVX was going the other way when Oxy broke out. That's interesting. Brendo?
Dave & Buster's, guys, had a big day yesterday off of a good earnings report. Back to the upside again today. Almost 6% here so far for play on the NASDAQ. A heads up on that. Also, wanted to mention RevB. We mentioned pre-market on a news halt. So they were out with an influenza treatment trial data that was obviously not so good, but halted upside here for RevB.
All right, we're into a new position here, NIO. So thank you to the chat for this one. Wow, our Micron is really working here. Unfortunately, AMC is pulled back to 27.70 right now, but we're on NIO. So let's see what happens here. We're waiting to get something out at 09. Ooh, did we get it? No, we did not. Ooh, that's funny. It just went to 09 and we didn't get anything there. That's where we were waiting for that. Wow, that sucks. That's really sucks. We're long at 02 here on NIO. We try to get some 09s there. And again, we're just going to try to get this on the way up. I don't really know why we're ripping up today on NIO. I didn't really see anything. I don't know if it was on our watch list or not. I didn't really see it, but I'm just trying to trade price action here, and obviously the price is telling me to go higher here on NIO. So let's wait to see where we get going on this name, Rivian. We did not get the reload up there. Should have, but was waiting a little bit higher. That kind of sucks for us on that one. But right now, all my focus is going to be on NIO. It's my biggest position.
And while that's ripping, also SoFi just broke the high of the day. So shout out to the chat for putting that one on. I know they got you NIO because I wasn't really paying too much attention. But 10.20, if you go back far enough on the 15-minute, you can see monstrous level of resistance. Now you've broken out from there. This market's not going in either direction at this point, so you've got to find what's actually moving, and I'm going to put that one in this channel. You've got a nice set of higher lows being put in, $9.80, $10, $10.20 resistance. You can see where I'm going with this. I want to try buying the dip in front of 10.20 and see if I can't get a part of this train. It's only up 1% right now, but that is a breakout on every time frame. I showed you the 15-minute, but it's a breakout as well on that daily chart. Very similar to what I liked in PayPal. You're really seeing here, and there's room to $11. That's why I want to get in this first in front of 20s and give it to 10 even and then see if we can't be a runner all day long. It's only 1%. If the market turns to the upside or the volume starts coming into it, you've got a good base of support here for SoFi. But it doesn't mean you hold it to the grave.
Okay, here we go. I was just going to say, why is it struggling here at 23? But if you look back, there was a 23 high right here, and I don't know, we just got out some 10s there. I believe we got hit at 10, did we? Yeah. So we did get hit at 10 there, but we've been getting some out like 7, 8s, 9s, not 9s, but 10s. So now our next offer here is going to be higher. It's in the teens, obviously 16. I'll tell it to you it's 16. So if we can get that going, it looks like we've now broken firmly above 23 here on NIO. So yes, sir, bang, right there. I told you this was my biggest position. So we'll go like that. We'll hit the sirens, and then we'll also go a little bit of case closed, as now I feel more confident about this position as we've broken back above now 23 and held. So let's wait to see where we're going now, but it's a big trade for me here on NIO, my number one position right here, net or capital-wise, I guess, whatever the word I'm looking for here, as we go. So let's go up. Let's get some 19s out if we can. Did we just get those? I don't know if we did or not. No, we did not. So we're waiting at 19s now. There it is on Micron. No, we didn't get them again on NIO. Yes, we did. We got them on NIO right there. So a nice little move up. Let me show. Oops, I was on the wrong chart. There it is. So nice little pump through 23. We've got this NIO trade on. Let's go. Aunt Kathy put this in the ARKQ, and you know your boys got ARKQ. So here we go up to the upside right now for NIO. Starting to work, man. NIO, big time position. Look at our Micron. I don't know if Brendan's going to talk. Oh, no, we're doing that different story. Micron now $3 in the money. Rivian 50 cents in the money. And Mr. Softy's a new reload down there at the bottom. Let's go, NIO. NIO taking off right now. We're excited, but we're no more excited than Brendan is. Brendan looks really pumped up over there at the big screen. So let's go over to Brendan now and to see what's happening now.
Hey, guys, yeah, the Dow, the first to go green. So we are positive here, 0.18 for the Dow. The S&P almost there, 0.1 still in negative territory. Small caps are weak, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, all about 0.4 to the downside for the Russell. Both the NASDAQ Composite and 100 about the same 0.3 to the downside, but heading in the right direction, which is good to see. A couple things we mentioned in the pre-market. There's Lulu trying to test the high. Currently, guys, back to above pre-market highs, the high from aftermarket yesterday on that report. We talked about, we didn't talk about Tesla, but Tesla on some minor headlines as well, back to 1100 or thereabouts, trying to test 1100 for Tesla. BNTX, decent report, but pretty good fade, really, off that high from the pre-market, all the way down to 176. So $12 straight to the downside for BioNTech, guys. Back to you.
Yeah, I didn't really look at BioNTech, but Chewy here just finally came in. We said, look, if it can hold these lows, there's a chance for that squeeze play. We talked about the short interest there. It just finally broke 44.50 again. There was the wick top right at the open. That was the real pre-market high. That was also the post-market resistance level right here. So, you know, you can get these wick tops. It's like, okay, well, what happens when it settles down? Does it put in the higher lows? Does it churn into breakout? We said there was a chance for a squeeze. It doesn't mean it has to happen. But if it can't get above that 45, I'm not giving it to the low of the day. I think that's a separate trade. Like a long off of 43, you know, maybe 42 half or something. That's going to be its own trade off for that bottom. But otherwise, we'll give it to like 43.75. So it's not quite $1 worth of risk onto it, but we do want to make sure we give it a shot. One of the other longs that we got in there was Oxy. I did like the dip buy. You can see me again on the bid. It's like you get the one entry, and like Oxy, when it goes, it doesn't want to let you get more. Like it tends to just run. So it's back to 59 even, about 50 cents in the money. I'm going to let it break 59 and shoot for 60. You can sort of see here, 60 was a big turning point last week. So if it gets up to $60, I'll be all out of Oxy. Brendo?
Kind of hard to see this, but I'll show you this anyways. NEO, guys, on NEO. AR firm NReal closed a $60 million funding round led by Alibaba. So Alibaba with a bit of a stake in NIO, it would appear.
Okay, I'm feeling that. But NIO did come back in a little bit, so I was like really happy on some of these cash outs. You guys saw me hitting the keys like a madman, and that's the part of the thing. Like, and this is why it's hard for me to change some of my, you know, the personality and just the way I trade. Not my personality, but more of a trading personality is like when this rips up and I have an oversized position. And I was actually talking to Brandon over there yesterday about ways to trade. I don't know, it wasn't Brandon, about ways to trade. And you could either scalp, you could take more shares and take less pennies, or take less shares and try to hold. So I'm trying to do like a little bit of a combination of both, which is why I said my NEO position was oversized on that 23 break. So when you go up into the money, 20 cents, 30 cents, it's like that's enough for me. Like I don't need to. Look, if it extends, great, and you hit those home runs, and it's absolutely fantastic, but you take profits when profits are there. And, you know, for me, I like to see that cash in the blotter, and then when it's there, I sort of just start hitting keys like a maniac and taking that out. So something I need to work on for sure. But hey, a win is a win, and we will never look down on those. But we will also go over now. I think it was Miss V. What's up?
I think so.
That's right. Hey guys, I hope you're having a great morning so far. A lot of opportunities on the markets. And I remind you, they need just 400 more likes to get to 2,000. More than 6,000 people are watching, so we really hope for your support. And meanwhile, we have a super chat from Trending One. Thank you so much. Morning, you guys. MVIS shorts, maybe? Can you guys take a look at MVIS for us?
Sure, we will. I just put my offer in on Oxy as it's breaking through 59 there, and CVX still looking weak. So if there's a turn, I'm probably going to look at Chevron. And thanks, guys, for pointing that out. Usually that's the way I like to play it. Is long Oxy, short Chevron. For oil, MVIS is like it's going to be SSR because it's already like it's not 10% right now, but it did break below that. So short sell restricted means you can only hit the bid on an uptick. But the trend is pretty clear. And when you see something like this, you get a massive runner, and then it has support that's just immediately broken. If I had been looking at this, I probably would be short myself at like 530. I'm sure we have to pay for any locates. But there is some hope on the daily chart. If you look at where it's turned at this 490 to 5, this was previous resistance. So that's kind of the logical level where it would start to try to base out, but it's more of a range. If you look at the actual body of volume, you're looking 470 to 5. Somewhere in there is where I think this could maybe try to catch a bit of a bid. So the short, still valid in MBIS, but on the daily chart, it could run into something at that $470 to $5 channel, which it's pretty much getting to that right now and trying to bounce. I'm not in it, and I would only be shorting it off of these levels here. So it's right in the middle of the range, which is a no-fly zone for me.
Yeah, we're also, the future's starting to fall down here, right? So we've gotten like lighter on our last little refill there of Microsoft. So yeah, as the market's below the 50 period, man, we don't need to be in this anymore. So you know, we've lightened up. Oh, by the way, our NEO position, we now have 8% left as it just ripped back up into 2305 there. We got out. We don't need to be holding longs if the market's going to fall down like this. So that's sort of what we're doing right now, is trying to lick some of our wounds on some of these trades. And by the way, remember that AMC level that we talked about, 2840? Well, it went right to 2840 and stopped. So like, man, we picked that level perfect, but we were looking for the break long. So if it happens again, then I think we can grab that long through 2840. By the way, right now, Rivian, like, wow, a little bit of a face slap there as Rivian makes a move all the way to the downside. This is another one, man. This could be the trade of the day again. Off these double reloads on Rivian, now right back into that low. Wow, a nice little $1.70 win here on RIVN. It's Brendo.
Of non-gold miners, so precious metal miners, battery focus popping up here. MP, the first one in New York, up on some Biden headlines. He's talking about bringing some more battery-related metal mining to the U.S. and funding for that. So MP. The other one, guys, WWR, which is Westwater Resources. So heads up on those.
Thank you very much there, Brennan. MP definitely been a mover, but NEG also put in a bit of a run. Look, it's one of the meme names that got going, short interest, whether it's short interest or low float, that bucket of stocks that was going last couple of days, and it went right into $8. If it had churned just a little bit further, I think it would have been obvious at $8.40. Watch back to like $7.40 to $7.20. If it can catch a bit there, it might have a secondary run. At this point, it's like, do I like reloads on the positions that we have that are working? The market is still holding, for now, it's still holding some of those levels that we had in the morning. So PayPal, which is the one that had been holding, we got 20 half into 22s the first time. It could not break out. It's going to try to retest 120. Remember, 119.5 is my out on PayPal. So as long as it bounces in front of that, I'm going to allow it to try to consolidate. If it can do that, I'll re-enter some of these shares. That's why we got out half of it for profit. But we don't have to rush. This is now the point of the day. We don't have to rush to catch the dips. It's not 9:30. Things can level off and hopefully go a little bit sideways to give us some action. I'm like you. I took some of that Rivian out when it broke that 53. And now it's down towards the low of the day. I think you're just holding that and then holding on for dear life. And I'm doing the same thing with the last of Tellurian. We did take some out in front of 550, but Nat Gas broke 550 and has really just been doing this the entire time, right? Like this is, you know, if you're worried about a position in Nat Gas or anything that's related to it, it hasn't given you a heck of a lot of reason to be concerned about it. So we're going to hang on just to see how far that one can go. It's a similar thing with Oxy, although I do have a target for Occidental. I do want to hold for the top end of the range. That'll be, I typed in, it's that stupid, I don't know why NF comes up and then you hit enter because you think you got it right.
Another request.
But anyways, I'll do this because every time it happens, I'll just show you on my black chart. If we get 59.60 or so in front of that 60, the actual high of the day, I said 60 and hollered it out. 59.80 is the actual high on Oxy. I want to get out of Oxy in front of that level just because you have had a sharp pullback. The second move hasn't gone as far. Some of the other names like Chevron has been a little bit weak as well. So I do want to take a profit inside of the range for Oxy.
Oh, AMC. AMC just went upside there. Okay, so let's see. There goes AMC finally starting to break through. Yeah, we were a little bit nervous about this trade here on AMC that just rattled through there, breaking that 28.40. So here we go. This is kind of the position that we thought would come through a little bit earlier, but didn't. So are we going to fade out here one more time? I don't know. We're going to try to keep trading this one, AIM. We're long at 28.44. So last time it hit this and then just tanked. So I don't like, again, where we're going with this trade right now on AMC, as it looks like it might have faded one more time. What's up, B?
Tesla popping, guys. It would appear anyways. On this same report, Biden set to use Cold War funding regulations for bringing some more metal, battery metal and mining to the U.S. And away from other countries. So Tesla getting a nice pop on that. QS as well just popped up.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, so right now, guys, like it looks like, again, we tried, I'm on AMC for you. Yeah, so we tried that breakthrough again at 44. When it didn't work, or at 40, we have 44, 43.50, and it just didn't go up. So right now, we're sort of licking a little bit of these wounds, but we do have this bottom one more time. It's just the way it's dancing here, it's like there's no momentum today with AMC. So we'll punch in the long. It's going to be the only name that I'm negative today. Well, no, actually, we got out of Microsoft. We'll talk about that in a minute. But right now, we're going to try to hold out to see if AMC wants to make that one big move to the upside here. It doesn't look like it. So right now, AMC just took out that 28.40. We tried it. We did lick some of our wounds now. Now we're going to see if we can go back up to the upside. But right there, another resistance. It just tried one more. There it comes. It just tried one more time. So I don't know. Looks like we'll probably take this out at 28.20 or so back here on the downside. But let's wait to see what happens. Last time we tested it right there, we came all the way back to 27.90 before failing. So maybe we'll have to give it a little bit more room here back down to the downside. But the market's taking off, which is pretty good for us. Micron and Rivian. But right now, our main concern here is with AMC falling back down. I think we'll try to reload it at VWAP. But for right now, AMC is just kind of tossing me around a little bit here. But hey, more to come.
You don't see this very often, so actually I should hit this key when it happens because you can almost screen cap it. I am sitting in 5 longs and 1 short, which is probably, it's been the first time in a while. Like I think like last year when everything was always going up, there were days that this would happen. And one of them, Chewy's down 12%. It's finally chewing through some levels. Yeah, that's a horrible pun. Who cares?
Yeah.
If it gets through 45, maybe I'll say it again. But if we get through 45, this is what I'm looking for. I don't think it fills the gap. I get it could squeeze, but I just go right back to the last time it showed like one of those open dips in strength, and that was at 46. So if this is going to work, I want it to work to 46.5. We took some out in front of 45. I really wanted it to settle down, hold the low, and then break back out of the pre-market high. That's what it's done. Now we'll look to see if we can get rewarded by that. Rivian's the only short we're in, and it looks pretty good so far, right? Like Rivian, you know, it's managed to finally break that low, and now we're just sort of holding out to see if it can get down to 50. Now, 50 was a monster level, and I want to try along there. So I don't know if you're holding the short all the way into 50. Probably want to get something out 50 half to 51 if it can get down to that price. But the market is turning. You know, it's trying to break out to the upside. I'm seeing on the 15-minute, it's consecutive green candles on the NASDAQ, but without a breakout. And I think that's the key thing. I have not gone over SoFi because it wasn't really doing much. It pulled back into that 1020. This is the breakout on SoFi, right? That 1020 level. We're able to get some on the dip. I just got some out there at 1035, so we can finally do one of these for SoFi. Wasn't really doing much until now, and we want to make sure we're holding on to some of this. You can see how long we've held this level on SoFi. You can see how much room you have to the 50 period at $11. If it gets to 10.50, I want some on board. If it gets to $11, I still want to have some on board for SoFi. I love these breakouts on the higher time frame because it allows you to trade it and then possibly hold out for an even bigger move. But I'll still scalp some out every quarter, 25, 50, 65, 75, that kind of thing. But we're going to still do that on the way up on SoFi.
Okay, so 227 here, 90 or so on a not a reload, but on a new position here for Facebook. Let's see, Facebook's been weak today. First of all, our AMC came back. We're in the money. We reloaded that on the downside, first of all. So that's going to be a good trade. We're going to get out at 228.50. So if Facebook starts to rally, I mean, look at the market right now. The market's taking off. Like, wow. Going to go green. We talked about that with Ms. V today, wearing that green. And there goes the market right up to the upside. We're going to just fade Facebook because it's down today. We talked about that yesterday, the relative weakness versus strength in the market, right? So you're going to look at that for Facebook. So that's why we chose this one to short. Might be wrong. I mean, there's no doubt about that. So we'll wait to see. We just got some out at 50, so let's do it again here. If we're lucky enough to get some 50s again here on AMC, let's do that. We'll just take 47s, actually, as it just stopped on us at 47. We're long at 35 now. Look at that reload down there at 20 right here. It's actually at 17. And then we just got missed there at 45, 47. So we'll take a 41. Now we'll see if this one can run, man. I mean, we're trying to make everything back here on AMC. I still think we can. It's just, yeah, we need a push, man. Good trading up here. It's just, yeah, it could be better. And we're trying to hold out for some of these bottoms. If it comes back through, we do want to average into this. I feel like AMC maybe has made these bottoms down here. So let's see about holding along now. We just saw some size there at 47. It's only 23 million shares. So it's not like this is an oversized. No, sorry, on the day. Actually, it's 23 million shares on the day. So it's not like this is an oversized day for AMC yet, but that just tells me that the apes aren't in this thing yet. And here they come. It's Ape Nation right now, baby. There it is. Bang. All we need to do is call for you guys, and you're right in there. There goes AMC rocketing right now for me. We are long at 28.32. AMC to the top side. Ape Nations unite. You guys are back, baby, and we are long. Why did I ever go short this name? I have learned my lesson.
Yeah, and look, when Sean said 23 million, I'm like, if there was 23 million shares on the offer, I'm probably punching short. But the GameStop just broke back out, so it looks like that was the low. Sometimes you get accidentally long and you should just hold it, but we still have not broken the opening range high at 179. And this 179 and 180, you can see what it did yesterday, right at that price in the afternoon. It resisted it. So I'm going to watch closely. This will be 29 on AMC and 179, 180 on GameStop. Sort of an obvious level that if there's going to be a turn, I think it can be here. And if it can consolidate for a break, it'll be absolutely gangbusters. I love what's going on with this market trying to break back up. That's why we have these long. It was just long setups, man. It was one of those things where it came in and so many things were breaking out on the higher time frame and had good support levels. Oxy, with this oil move, has been unable to get back towards that high. At this point, it's showing some signs of weakness. The volume's tapering off here. I might just be able to take this dip out closer to this 59. If it only wants to give me 50 to 70 cents, I'll have to go ahead and take it. Remember, I never got the long at the price that I wanted it. This was sort of like a compromise where I saw the dip come back in. It didn't get to my price, and then I just took it when it retook the pre-market high at about 58.30. So it wasn't the way I wanted to trade. I chased it a little bit far, so I don't want to give it all the way back here either on Occidental.
Yo, shout out to Dinesh, man. What's up, Dinesh? And it's right here, man. He said that People's Trader called out the hood. So there it is right there. And we went short on that one. Or we didn't, but Dinesh did. So good call there, Dinesh, for you. I mean, I just called it out. It's on the sticky note today, the hood. And yeah, straight to the downside. We were looking for a little bit higher, but you obviously played that break, which was genius. I should have played that break. You know, on a name like that, we should have played hood for the break, and we didn't. So watch out. Good trade, good cover for sure at these areas. It would have been a better cover down here, but we can't make bottoms, right? So there it is, a nice little play for you, Dinesh, on hood. Good job there. We did get out Neo. I didn't even notice this. Just ripped all the way back up to the upside there. This is going to be definitely an oh my God kind of stock for me here. And bye-bye. Oh yeah, now the print is coming, man. Now the register goes burr for us on Facebook. A nice little move to the downside, man. We told you about taking this relative weakness and taking it in. And so there it is, man. Facebook with the fall back down. Cash, 50 cents right there. Let's see where it goes from here. And man, it's like, I read the chat, and thank you so much for all the energy. And if I'm blowing out your eardrums, I apologize for that one. I think there was one person there. What's up to you, Scott Hall? Yeah, ASMR, what's up, Hydration Nation
Scott
as well?
Hall.
Yeah, it's Scott H, but I know Scott Hall passed. But there it is. What's up to you guys as well? Tilray heading to $20. I don't think so as well. Yo, what's up, Dinesh? And now, Dinesh, look, Dinesh, man. Stop following me so much, man. There's Dinesh. He's killing Facebook right now as well on the short. So congratulations to you, Dinesh, on that trade as well, man. Wow, good job there. Pouring out the hot sauce on the tacos. You're damn right, taco eater. Let's go. It's time to get hungry.
We're always hungry. You should always be hungry for more. I just got the curl in GameStop, so we talked about this level, getting up to 78, 79, exactly where it made the top this morning. So I'm going to take that shot pretty much every time I see it. Tellurian, we're going to have to take this one out. I'm going to show you why in a quick second. We got out of Oxy, took our profit and ran, but now you're getting an actual turnaround off the highs when Tell couldn't get through those highs of the day. So it's time to take the trade out and just walk away from it. Obviously, it would have been nice if it could have made that continuation, but you know, when your catalyst starts pulling back on you like that, you just take the profit and run. It never really followed through, but we got 550, so we're able to get exactly what we were looking for, sitting in at pre-market. And it was obvious to the short yesterday, it was obvious to the long, and a delayed reaction both times. Time to get to Brennan, because it's time for the small cap recap.
Hey guys, yeah, busy morning. Lots to look at, both on small cap side of things and large caps as well. Here we go, DRCT, 2.5 million shares. However, good long through 450 up to 550 at the top there. Took a couple of shots at that. When this broke back down, I said I wasn't going to short this. I lied. When this broke back down, there was about 400,000 shares on the offer, following it down all the way back through 450. So that was enough for me to take a quick short as well. We're breaking back to the downside now as well. Just be careful with this, though. It's one of those ones that could pop up and halt at any point. ADGI. Tried this in the pre-market, stopped out above 6 there, and then it immediately reverses and falls $1 straight in a straight line. So it did give you a second opportunity to get back in if you missed that. I was also watching this one, NAOV, a little bit thin. It's around $1 as well, so just be careful, but popped up on some news as well. NAOV on volume, guys.
All right. We're just right now watching Facebook. I mean, first of all, what's up to Dominic? He's like, how's your AMC? You want to know how my AMC is? Do you really want to know how it is? There it is. Let's spin it right now. AMC with a freaking monster. $1 in the money now. And this is the thing. When we lose, we lose. There's no doubt, man. We switch up the game, punch ourselves in the face for going short. And now it is just upside surprise here for AMC. So bing bong, AMC to the upside as we're going one more time here for AMC. A beautiful move, man. We're now $1 plus in the money, and that's what that is, guys. We are turning our day around right now. Big time mover here for us. Like $1 on this name? Are you kidding me? 28 bucks. Let's go up to the upside. Plus $1 here on Rivian as well, as that's a bing bong kind of name. And then right now we did reload on Facebook. Remember, maybe it's not as weak as we think here. It did make those bottoms. It did reload. Watch out for the futures. I feel like Facebook should be going the other way here a little bit now, as the market is just not at its highs, and Facebook's trying to take out this 28.50. So we're gone if it takes out 28.50 for us here, but we're going to have to watch out for Facebook right now getting juicy to this upside.
I know Pratt will be happy about this one. Well, at least I think he will, because he always talks. I know he's talking about pounds here, but I know he's in SoFi. He likes SoFi. He definitely likes SoFi.
Yeah,
but
like
SoFi
SoFi
just hit 10.50. So the next leg out, we keep talking about this, like quarters and 50s, on the way to $11. It did give you, sometimes you miss a breakout trade, and it does that really nice and courteous thing where it sort of pulls right back in, and that same breakout price is where it consolidates. When the market gives you a gift, you better be ready to take it. And shout out to you guys in the chat, because I know we were looking at SoFi all the time, but today was almost missing this trade. And it could have happened. Thankfully, it didn't. I think there's upside room. If we can break 50, my next out is going to be up towards that 70 to 75 level, and there's room on the daily chart, right? Like, this is what we're talking about. Gorgeous daily chart breakout, and you're in the early stages of this sort of makes the bottom, higher low, and then consolidation break. It looks fantastic, but the 50 period is sitting at $11. That's why I'm throwing that one out there. PayPal's back to the top end of the range as well, but it's not time to ring the register on it. Look, we've already done that. It needs to now break out that high. You're consolidating for that break. I'm looking for 23 to go, and then I want to get some out on the north side of that on the way to 125. That's the trade I want on PayPal. Like, we're giving it at least back to that 119.50 when we're long 20.5. Then we should be trying to hold some of this for the top end, and even more than what we've got so far. So got to hang on to some PayPal. And the same thing with Chewy. Like, we have an upside, we have a target to try and get some more, to get it out in front of 46. Starting to get slow on the charts there. But the breakout is still ongoing here in Chewy. And this is a different story. It was bad earnings, but it's 30% short, and it couldn't take out those lows. So if it's not going to go down, well, it's not going to go sideways either, not with the short interest and with the amount of move that it's already had here in Chewy. Brendo?
Not seeing anything on this yet, guys, but ACB just popped up at day highs. Big volume spike there as we took out that high from yesterday. So nice look here for some of the cannabis names starting to go.
Oh, I always type.
Okay, so we got out of Facebook there, okay? So it did break 228.50, but then I was thinking, like, you know what, man? Let's see if this market takes out the high. And if it does, then fine. Facebook can have us one more time. And if not, then honestly, I feel like Facebook, obviously, just because it's weaker doesn't mean it can't get going. I mean, there's two ways, there's two sides to every story here, right? It's weaker than the market, but now it's really starting to pick itself back up again here, right? So watch out now as Facebook's starting to rip up higher. If we take out this 230 high, then we're going to get out of Facebook. Honestly, that's going to be the out there. We have now averaged into this short, and I don't know. We'll see where it goes, but that's going to be our average price now is 228.92. We'll take $1 hit on this name if it goes there. That's going to be the out, but at the same time, I'm thinking we can at least retrace to VWAP, which gives us almost that 1-to-1 ratio on this trade, let alone if the market does fail up here at the highs. So let's wait to see what happens now. First leg out, if we can get it, would be, you know, for that 50 cents. I don't know if that's going to come through, but we are going to get out at 230 and change. So we do have one more offer to go on the average in. So let's wait to see. But so far, so good on the average, but it still needs to get going here to that downside for Facebook. And if the market takes off, then, hey, we have our out. But right now, we're back into the money on this trade. So average to the short. Let's see if the market takes the high. If it does, then we expect Facebook to get taken out around 230. But the one more average in is going to be right around here, man, like 229.60 or so. We'll try that one, and then we'll see about a downside push here for FB.
So Pratt is just hollering in the back. I think, and it's about Palantir. because Palantir broke what was, I guess, an iceberg at 14.19, which is a very random price. At least that's what he's sort of telling us. But on the higher time frame, have a look at this top. Like, it's a double top, 14.30 on Palantir. It's barely up, but then the market's not exactly breaking either. But look at it on the daily chart above this level. Now, this is kind of closer to 14.50. So we keep talking about things breaking out on a higher time frame. Yeah, above that 14.50, that's a pretty interesting break if it can get there. So looking very, very strong. You'd be chasing this, and if you take that breakout, it is right into some resistance from February, like beginning of February at 14.50. But Palantir getting juicy. Man, that's set an alert for that 14.50 price if Palantir does get there, turning to the upside. Looks like it's very strong. In the market, I want it to go, but it's a slow grind into the upside. That's why you got to hold on to the ones that are working and just sort of monitor your trades. And the one short that I am in, Rivian, you can sort of see, like, whoops, that's still Palantir, even though I hit enter. You can sort of see it get back into VWAP here. So I do like the reload, although I'm going to adjust some orders here, sort of cancel all my orders. I still like 51.50 for an out. But if it pops from here, I think I want to play it by ear where it curls, not just sort of sit in front of 54 like we're doing at the open, but allow it to sort of try to roll over and then get in. You're later in the day. You don't need to have that order just sitting out there like you would at 9:30 to 9:40. You're really starting to think about playing that price area if it does get in. So everything I have is a hold with the trend. Chewy, PayPal, SoFi, hold it as it goes. Rivian, looking for that reload. Other than that, we're looking for those other trades. Now, obviously, Robinhood, I think that was a great call. It's kind of away from those levels. And I loved Oxy, but I had to back away from it when it started to roll over. Like, look at what's happening to Oxy. Like, I really thought it was going to go, and we got that bounce play, but it just looked stupid weak. And now you're right back down to that 57.5. So looks like it was the right call to get out at VWAP. The real question is, when I check oil futures, do I see a reason to go long at 57.5? So that's the next thing I'm doing, is just checking out what happens in oil, because Oxy was strong and then turned on an absolute dime.
Yeah, I love turning Pratt into a mini me here, looking at that Palantir. Good job there, Pratt. He's long at 14. So there we go. PLTR, good trade through 14. Again, shout out to Henry if he's here. What a great trade, Pratt. I mean, that's exactly what we're talking about, man. Wait for those dips to happen, make a bottom, then hammer that through. That's why you got to have a plan of action on all of your stock, to be honest with you. You guys know that. Those of you that have watched the show definitely know that. So here we go. We are, man. This is, first of all, a reload just happened on Micron. So we just got a reload on Micron. We're going to see if it comes back up here to like 83.80 just to make sure we have an offer there. If it does come back up, we just reloaded Micron off those bottoms. These are the bottoms that we wanted. We were looking at 82. I'm a little bit nervous here because, again, if the market rips up, then I'm toast on Facebook, but we'll be crushing it on Micron. And right now, they're not really doing what I thought they do. So I thought Micron would go back to the upside. And here goes. So Facebook's just getting like ramped up right now. Obviously, Facebook just turned green right now. So we were talking about the relative weakness in Facebook. That's turned around now. So obviously, in this last little market, I mean, look, like how much, how wrong could we be on this one? Like Facebook, straight up, not one red candle since I started shorting, not one red candle. Meanwhile, the market is doing absolutely nothing. So, I mean, I don't know. It looks like Facebook, like, let alone, if this market takes off, man, this Facebook is going to be catastrophic to the upside. So definitely a little bit of a worry spot for me right now because, yeah, Facebook not acting the way I thought it would. Remember yesterday where like Facebook was so strong. Facebook was so strong. Right. So we probably should have stuck with that, into this today. But unfortunately, we went the other way. It's going to be a hit and it's going to suck. But at the same time, I took it for a reason and I'm fine with it.
It was a higher time frame breakout trade, and it just went into that 50 period. So like I kind of say like we had like the long breakout was valid till that 33, and then in front of that it looks like it can still be a bit of a short. I know it's not there yet, but obviously that's a bit of a case. Brendan does have a new name for us. What do you got, bud?
We mentioned the crude oil inventories, guys, just came out. Bigger drawdown than expected, 3.5 million barrels versus 1 million expected. Not much of a reaction as far as oil is concerned. There was actually a spike to the downside and then right back up here. But again, a bigger drawdown than expected for crude oil. Let's get a check while we have a second here on how things in Europe are shaping up. Miss V's watching what's happening over there. What's up?
Hey, Brandon, European markets are mostly negative. Meanwhile, John Menzies trading in London is up more than 4% after it agreed to be acquired by Kuwaiti firm for $750 million.
Yeah, back to the downside, it would appear, for the time being anyways, guys. We're down, but only just 0.3 for the S&P.
I'll be the first one. I should have remembered that the oil number was coming out too. Like, remember saying like, man, Oxy is just so weak. Like, it's going to roll over here and oil's holding up. That's right, inventory numbers, and it's already run so far and it had the Buffett bounce. Thank you, Mike, for pointing that one out to me in the chat. Sometimes you got to take a step back and you look at the price levels. Remember what's going on. Inventory numbers, the overall story for the stock are going to matter. I'll bite, and when I say I'll bite, I'll call up Sundial if you guys are going to keep. I keep seeing it in the chat. I know there's some cannabis names moving, and it's going as well. I'm not saying it's a trap, but remember Friday's the catalyst, and obviously that's just still half the story, or a third of the story, or a quarter, whatever you want to call it. But remember, Sundial made the spike and almost got to $1. Got to that 90 cents and then did pull back. And that lower high, that's 81, baby. And this is what it looks like on the chart. This 80 to 81 level each time, 80's been the lower high. At 81, if it spikes up there, as it gets to that price, I think that's what I'd be looking for. You can see what happened when it got through there. It felt like a rock when it got to 85, 86. So you get an idea what's going to happen if it gets up there. But I'm not immune to going long this thing. If I was long sort of off of the 70 level, which maybe there was a chance to do that this morning, we do like those longs down there, but only to play them into those highs. You're in front of the news, so you play the range. I don't want to chase anything long or chase anything short in any kind of cannabis name until after Friday. Otherwise, just play the levels. I think they can work for you, but chasing the top's not going to do it. Chewy, which was working brilliantly, now starting to pull back in here. It's really not concerning just yet, but I'm not letting this get past 43.75. And you can sort of look at these levels. They were support previously. Now we're looking to see if they can start to hold up here. But Chewy's starting to run out of gas, oddly enough, following the futures. The futures turn, and Chewy decides to want to follow them. So if this is just a minor pullback in the NASDAQ, which is what I'm obviously looking to see happen here, then we can try to get back toward those highs, and these longs can get back to some profit-taking levels. SoFi's also pulled back off 50, but still well in the money.
I already know my frustrating stock. Like, what the hell is Facebook doing? The market is tanking right now. I mean, it's not tanking, it's going down. Like, if I just, like I say, never come at the king. If I just shorted Apple the same time I shorted Facebook, we'd be $1 in the money right now. And now right here, this is Apple, you can see, starting to come back in, right? Look at Facebook. Facebook is like, no, thank you. We're actually going to go to the highs again. So it's testing 230 and it's going to break, and we're going to get out of this one. So as it breaks through 230, man, we obviously traded this wrong. Looking for higher highs here goes Facebook into the market that's been red. So I don't know what to do here. Obviously, as it takes off, we're going to get, there we go, we're going to get out of this one. We're still holding a small piece in case it does retrace back, but Facebook will flush ourselves down the toilet. We tried to call that one for you, and I feel like we did, trade this well yesterday from the long side of things, but today we're going to give a little bit of that money back going short on Facebook. No red candles, man. And we did, so again, because we have faster executions here, so on and so forth, I do have the abilities to get out of them when it comes back in. So we did take a couple averages and a couple outs here. It did tank down to 229.20 there. So right now we're out now of about 70% of the trade, and we're going to hold a little bit now to the downside and see if it comes through. It may not. Now we can wait for this high, 230.80, and I'm just going to be stubborn here and wait for it. If it takes me out, it takes me out, and we take a bigger loser on this one. But I don't know what's going on with Facebook, so there's nothing major. Again, Brendan's letting me know. So yeah, it just looks like it's relatively strong today. So we're gonna slip up on Facebook, but that's fine. I went back to it from yesterday's strength. And look at AMD. Maybe that's going to be the name to short. But again, AMD right now up 1.23% and kind of barcoding a little bit here as well. Watch out for those tops, 125. I feel like the market would have taken out the top if it wanted to go up. So I am thinking about shorts, but I would like the NASDAQ to be below here, the 50 period. And if that can come through, then that's when I think these shorts will really start to push. But for right now, we lose on our big short of the day there. We crushed AMC to the long side, so it's all good. But right now, I feel like we got to find a short. Yeah,
I've been looking to find something that I can play a rollover. I just checked the firm. Thank God we didn't short at 50 because that was just an abject disaster if you shorted. It went to 51.5, a firm did. It's pulling back now, but it's sort of come and gone. But that 50 level was in no way valid. It churned through it. But I had an alert set for Snapchat. I did not pay attention enough to it. Same stock, same thing as PayPal. Look at it, consolidation break here. And it's like it hasn't taken out yesterday's high. It's been trying to, but you've got this breakout looming at this 37.50 area, and then you've got a double top at 38.30. So you see, getting a little bit excited for this because the market takes out the high. Snapchat, again, it's barely gone, double top. Let's see if this can get going. Now, it's not that bad to dip by at 37.5, give it to 37, and then you're out in front of the high of the day. But at this point, I'm just going to look for the clean break, and I want to be looking for a curl trade because the only short I have is Rivian. It's starting to come back up to that 54 level, but it's one of those days. Like almost everything when it sets up, it's setting up like it's a long. So I'm going to get a stop order in on Snapchat. It's hilarious because I have my alert set up that Arun was like, you need to start using alerts. And there's only one that's still left out there. And it's like, hey, man, Snap got past that price. Why don't you have an order on it? So it's in now. Snap takes out the double top. I'm going long in Snapchat. I'll give it back to this 37.5-ish and then see if the market continue to run. By the way, PayPal, which is the other one, basically the same setup. I hit enter, you should go. Basically the same setup. Now it's trying to take out that high. I'm going to take some out when it breaks the high, maybe halfway to that 24, and then I want 125. So very similar consolidation on the 15, breakout. This one gave the dip buy, caught the dip buy here. With Snapchat, I'm looking to take the break instead.
Okay, yeah, Snapchat, yeah, good tip there from Arun, obviously, on that. Yeah, set up your alerts.
What are alerts?
If you can. Okay, so yeah, here goes Facebook right up to that 230 one more time. We did try to put another short on there as it came real close to us getting out. We didn't even notice. So we'll try another one. If it does take out 231, then we're going to be gone out of this name. We're waiting at 230.75. Maybe I'll fix that and just go to 230. I don't know, we could start building it right here. And then we'll wait for another, did that go out? Yeah. And then we'll wait for like an 80 or something to get a better price on this one. But here it goes, here it comes, right back up to the upside. One more shot here. I mean, the market is failing. I feel like we'll be back. This is not going to be a big hit. It takes out 231, we're gone. So like that's why it looks like our average price is really 230.25 here. So we can get some damage back to the downside here if it does fail. But right now, Facebook, one last try, just in case the buyers are done. I mean, I don't know. I really don't know what else to say about this. I'm very, very surprised at how strong it is today. So we'll go to the well one more time here on a possible dump back through. Big move back up for Rivian here. So I believe that's going to be a short again into this level. So let's just try to put a little bit of shares on here as we'll take out the bid there. I just crossed into it. Yeah, okay, so we got 61s there. I could have got 69s if I just waited. We do have a high side here of 55 for Rivian. Again, maybe it's just getting started and we're just about to go back upside here. But Rivian right there, 55, we'll hold on. We just started a new short position, so we'll wait on it and see if we can get higher than this. You know, maybe if it wants to rip and take out some of these highs, then that's fine, but we're going to sit here and take a short into it. So 54, 54.50. Even though the NASDAQ's now above, I still feel like we can come back to the downside here. So let's see what Rivian does now. Let's get some more short.
Yeah, three things here. One, Brendan pointing, LAC just on an absolute tear, Lithium Americas, and just going nuts. And if it gets close to 50, I think it's ring register. But I just looked at the thing that I went into the last time. Instead of buying Lithium Americas, last time I bought the dip on the actual ETF, which is yet to really break out, but it's on the move as well. If it gets through this 78, this is the ETF, not nearly as strong, but that's what you get when you put your money into the ETF instead of Lithium Americas, which is just churning on the daily. Like I said, it gets close to 50. That's going to be not a screaming sell, but definitely a sell point for me. I was asked about ADGI. I'll get right on ADGI after we go to Brendan for Sector Watch. Looking pretty mixed.
Hey guys, yeah, more red than green, unfortunately, today, which leaves the market down slightly 0.3 right now. There are a few individual areas to be aware of, though. The defense names showing some strength so far today, up about 1.5 to 2% here. Deere, obviously, in that same area as well, but Lockheed Martin, LHX, and GD as well. Micron, we talked about in the pre-market there, 2% still for Micron leading the way. AMD as well, also in positive territory. There's QCOM to the downside, kind of offsetting that. I want to mention as well, PayPal I noticed was up about 1% and change, coming back in a little bit for PayPal. So heads up with PayPal. Some of the metal stocks we talked about yesterday to the downside, back in positive territory. Mosaic, obviously, on the fertilizer side of things, but FMC, CF, and FCX all back to the upside, about 1.5%. That's oil. All the energy stocks still rallying nicely. To the downside today, consumer discretionary stocks and the banks. A lot of weakness in the banks so far today. Individual banks standing out specifically. All of them here in negative territory. Some of the retailers as well to the downside. DLTR standing out as positive. And consumer durables also very, very weak. But a bit of a flat day overall. I mean, there are areas kind of offsetting each other. But 0.3 to the downside, guys. Back over to you.
Yeah, pretty flat. I said I'd get to ADGI. Wow, this might be my frustrating stock of the day, despite the fact that you didn't see me trade it. But I did have a couple of early shorts on this stock. It was really, really strong. My explanation for this is it was really strong up at $7, like making this consolidation. And I was just like, okay, it would come down, try to get into a short, and then it would be like, oh, goodness, look at that bid. And get out. And there's less liquidity in the pre-market. And it's one of those things where sometimes you just have to be patient with it. I was not. Could it find a bit of a bid here and get to the upside? What I want to say is the answer, it feels like a bit of a yes, because if you looked at where it went parabolic right before 7 a.m. when some of the retail comes in, that was right down around $5, where I think that target would have been. It's managed to bounce well out in front of that 520 level. So as long as it holds this throughout lunchtime, it does have the potential for a secondary run. However, you would like to see the volume start to come back into it, which is not really happening yet. It's starting to do so. But if it takes out 6 and is not doing volume like it did in the morning, then I don't love the long. It has to really hold this level A, B, break 6 even, C, start doing volume like you saw at the open. So that's 3 things that would probably have to happen for me to like the long.
Like now Facebook's finally coming down, but it's not the right trade, guys. I mean, I'm not sitting here trying to say like, yeah, let's go Facebook. There's nothing but love for the downside. I mean, finally, whatever, man, we're 30 cents in the money now. We can make this all back. It's just like, how far does it have to come down now? This market's gonna have to collapse. We just take a nice little 30-cent win there on Facebook, but we're still holding it. So who knows? That little move down was nice, but again, it just gets bought right back up. There's no follow through to the downside there. So I don't know what to expect here on that name whatsoever. And it is kind of like a revenge trade, but we do have this high there. And I feel like this was the mistake, like just averaging in here. We only averaged in 3 times. It's not like it's the end of the world. But then we take another short up there. And now we'll wait to see I guess I'll put something on the bid now in the 80s again. If it does come back, there it is. We just get filled again. So yeah, look, man, we'll drop the money down on this trade, but I'll let you know when we're back into the money totally here. This has to take out 229 to the downside. Like if we can get back into here, then we can be positive on Facebook. But for right now, glad that short's starting to print. And we just had to be more specific there. This was the level to get out. Like we should have got out right around here on the high of the days. Instead, we averaged in and took out this 230 level, right? So that really was the problem. We misstepped about 50 cents on Facebook, and that's going to be, happens to me. So that is what that is right there. Okay, Micron, and here's the same kind of average in. Hopefully we don't make this mistake again. We are looking at 55 up here. That's yesterday's high. So if Micron takes out 55, then we'll get out. Other than that, we'll wait on this and see what's going on. I'm debating taking one more piece on Facebook. We've made back a decent amount here on this name, as it's flirting with this 229.60. Like we don't want to give everything back up on a market rip here. Let's see if the market, let's get out one more piece right around here. If the market does, there it is. If the market does, we just got out of those. If the market takes this down right now, then we'll let Facebook fall a little bit, and here it goes. So hopefully now we get into the 80s now for Facebook. I don't have any more bids. I actually have, no, that's a sell. I tried to get 78s, which we missed. That would have been pretty epic right now. But we'll wait to see if we can get back into the 50s here for Facebook. That's going to be my next bid. So we'll see if we can take a buck on the last little bit of these shares as we're starting to get a little bit more spicy here to the short side in the market. It just needs to keep on going. And one little bump up, and you see how aggressive Facebook is. So that is this trade. Wow, it's already 10:45. Wow. Crazy, crazy stuff. Like, it's funny. Like, I look over, a lot of these names are red, and Facebook is green. What the hell have I done? What's up, Brendo?
All right, thanks, guys. He is the author of 0 Hour. He is the founder of HS Dent. He is the author as well of the HS Dent newsletter, an economic forecast newsletter. We have Harry Dent joining us on the show for the first time. Welcome, sir. It's great to have you. A wide range of topics we can cover here, but let's jump right into things. I want to mention the book, first off, 0 Hour. Tell us about that.
Well, you know, we had a major boom that I predicted way back in the 80s into 2007 with the baby boom generation. And then when the crash that I predicted back then started in 2008, central banks went nuts and just started printing money. And they didn't expect to print for long, but they're still printing money. And they printed more in the last 2 years than they printed in the 12 years before that. So they've had to keep printing money to keep an economy that's naturally slowing with the baby bust moving into their peak spending. So the baby boom and the next generation, the millennials, are going to bring the economy up naturally starting about 2024 onward. So between now and then, they have pushed off a major stock crash and downturn for a long time. And so we're most likely to see that crash between now and the end of 2023 before the next real trend, real people spending more money, the millennials, happens in 2024. But they've been trying to offset this slowdown forever. And I hate to say it, that's just cheating.
It's a lot of obviously catalysts that we can, kind of point to as far as what the market has done this year. But I wanted to get your opinion on the past couple of weeks here before we go any further here, Harry. We've had, just an amazing bounce off of the recent lows back to the upside. What do you attribute, this recent strength we've seen specifically to?
Well, this market is just, people have been trained since 2009, just buy the dips. So something has to happen. We've had this Russian-Ukraine war, that's a hit. But we've also seen now, and this is always the death of most stock market, especially bubble markets, is when interest rates, long-term interest rates, when the 10-year bond starts rising, and it's risen from 0.5% now to 2.5% recently. And we're also at the top of that interest rate channel. So this is where I think it breaks, that these rising rates finally breaks the stock market. The Russian war, especially if it escalates further, helps. But what I see, what it takes historically, I've studied every major bubble in history now that I realize we're in the biggest bubble ever. And it takes about a 40% crash in 2 to 3 months to break the momentum of a bubble so people don't just automatically say, oh, I got to buy every dip. That's what it takes. And so I don't say this bubble's over till I see a close to 40% crash. And we may be in that first crash now, but it has to go lower quickly in the next few weeks. If it doesn't, I think that crash is most likely to happen from somewhere between late April and July. But we are due for that. These rising rates are the final thing that makes it impossible for this stock bubble just to keep going up like there's no end to it.
Harry studies 4 main cycles when it comes to demographics. Tell us how, as traders, and tell us how, we're active market participants here, how can we use demographics and these 4 main cycles that you look at to kind of foresee what happens in the overall market?
Well, so yeah, I look for like major turning points. Now, I look at these cycles together and individually. The demographic cycle, actually the geopolitical cycle peaked in 2000. We had a crash after that. That would have been a great time to be shorting stocks. The demographic cycle peaked in late 2007. And of course, we had the biggest downturn and recession in 2008, early 2009 to follow. Now the technology cycle is what is peaking here. It's the last one peaking in early 2020. So from now into late 2023 is when all of my cycles tend to point down together. So that's a good time to be shorting rallies for a trader instead of buying them. Now, when we get to the other side of this, let's say late 2023, if we do see a substantial crash, and I do think we will by then that's when you start looking to buy down trends in the markets and play for the next rallies, because from about late 2023 into 2036 should be the next global boom with the millennials driving trends again. And then you want to be buying corrections to catch rallies. But now you're basically looking to short as a trader when we see rallies. And I think we may see one more rally to maybe as high as 5130. That's my channel for the S&P. If we see that may be the short of a lifetime. If we see 5130 on the S&P in the next month or so, we could see a 40 to 50% crash literally in 2 to 3 months, and you will never find a better short than that.
One of the interesting concepts I've been reading about, lots of people having opinions on, What if this is a lower high as well in the overall market, this bounce that we're seeing right now? What is there maybe an area that we can look to, in your opinion, to maybe signal that, you know, the drive, the fuel behind this rally might be running out? And if so, where is that? And then also, where do we go? How far down could we go?
Well, you know, we actually are very close to since we bottomed here in this recent correction, we're just about to hit, I think it's 459, we're just about to hit the first real resistance point. So if the markets can't break above that in the next few weeks, then that would say we're likely to see this first crash continue. Now, what really makes it interesting, if the first crash continues and we do go down substantially more, say into mid-April or so, then that would be a time where you would expect to see a rebound rally that would retrace 50 to 60%, typical Fibonacci ratios, the crash that went down. So that's a play to the upside. But boy, and if we see that rally into later this year, we see this crash go farther, we see a rebound rally that retraces 50 to 60%, then that will become the next short, because that downturn after the first crash and then the rebound that doesn't even come close to making a new high, that will be a long, like 2-year crash where the markets just go down, 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 and people can just keep shorting rallies as a trading policy for a long time. That'll be trading heaven to me on the downside.
Well, let's talk about strategy here, Harry. When it comes to, you know, maybe taking advantage of that downside move, is there a specific strategy that, you know, you kind of lean on? Is there an area of the market that you might lean on when it comes to, you know, this first or next move that you're predicting?
Well, you know, a lot of this crash, but we had a 5-wave down into this. I mean, that looked like a completed wave for now. So we are due for a bounce here. So if the bounce can't look like it's going to make a new high, and the S&P 500 may be the only index that does make a new high. So that would be the first thing. If I'm a trader and I see this bounce continue and the S&P 500 makes a new high, maybe just a couple percent over the last high, you know, and as high as 5130 would be a layup, then that's the perfect short, especially if the NASDAQ doesn't make a new high, and almost certainly in that case, you would not expect the Russell 2000, the small cap. So that's at a major top like this, you expect to see the leading indexes, the most broad and safest ones like the S&P, to make a new high, but other indexes like the Russell 2000 not to, and that's a sign that it's a major top. And that's when you expect that first bubble crash of 40 to 50% in 2 to 3 months. And again, you will not see a better short opportunity path. You'd have to go back to early 2000 to see that, or way into the future. So this is the biggest setup I'm looking for, but it depends on whether we can look like we're going to make a new high here near term. And I think the next few weeks, that'll be more obvious.
Check out his latest book, guys, 0 Hour. Turn the greatest political and financial upheaval in modern history to your advantage. Harry Dent is the founder of HS Dent and the author of the Dent Forecast newsletter. We appreciate your insight, sir. Thanks for doing this.
Hey, real quick, you can get on my newsletter for free, a free newsletter at harrydent.com. That's the best way to get to know us.
There we go. Thanks. Have a great day. Great insight, guys. Interesting ideas there from Mr. Dent.
Yeah, and look, obviously, you see us day trading, right? So, and we'll talk about like higher time frame, but it's always good to get a different perspective on the market from a higher time frame standpoint, from a more fundamental standpoint, because a lot of traders, if you've only been in the market for the last few years, you might not have seen things like 08 or seen things like .com and even a raising rate environment and things like the balance sheet going 6 to 9 we've talked about, and then probably back 9 to 6, and we're talking trillions. Those are large events, and it can cause a shift in the market that you want to have a bit of a different perspective on. And yes, it can matter to us as day traders. Like, there's still stocks that squeeze, and when I see this happen, I'm going to come right over to Rivian, because while this was going on, I reloaded Rivian at 54, and as soon as I was like, yeah, reloading Rivian at 54, I was stopped out like right away. I mean, just like instantly, it boom through the high of the day, stopped me out. It then went parabolic, and the battle at 56 to 56.5 that was just going on right now. And again, it just tried to take out the high again. So I was just about to get some out. Like, I was starting to get out at 55.6 on a 56.2 short. It was starting to work, and then slam again to the upside. A couple of big wick highs here in Rivian. If this ain't the top, then it's over. I mean, whatever, man. Then it's over. It's probably going to like $60. But Rivian going absolutely nuts here. It's finally caught a couple of wick highs, so I'm going to try and work this short back into 55. But wow, what an unreal run that we just saw here in Rivian the last couple of minutes. Unbelievable.
Let's, yeah, I mean, look, we got killed on that. I mean, we just got killed, and then we just averaged in, take this short. Well, I mean, not killed, but I mean, went all the way to the upside there. And we were trying to hold, and there's our out at 55.50, and then back in. So we have to watch out for that one. But you know what else happened right now? I mean, at least Facebook guys came back down in, and there's the market. Like, I wasn't trying to be all bearish up here, but I was talking about that I thought the market was going to have to retrace a little bit today. Here it comes back down. I don't know where it's going to go from here, but we are now $1.50 in the money now on Facebook. So this is, yeah, let's go. There goes Facebook. I just said, man, maybe we can retrace back down to here. So, hey, all is not lost on this trade. Your boy made it all back right here on Facebook. So we'll wait to see where it goes. Not all of it, but a lot of this money back here on FB. So, wow, we were just like dead in the water there, and now this market collapses. So let's take one more bid on Facebook if we can. Sub 229. It went right to the level that we thought it would. There we go. We're at 95 now. Maybe we'll get printed on a made. There it is, right through us there at 95. So far so good. Wow, what a. As Mr. Dent was there, man, this market just absolutely collapsed there. The market must be watching our show, Brendo. What's up with earnings?
Yeah, a few interesting names, anyways, on this board for tonight. Not as busy as yesterday, but noteworthy, anyways.
Oh.
Well, I mean, there's two that we probably going to, well, okay, fine.
I mean, I own some UiPath.
Two will trade.
So I'm down with
UiPath, Nano Dimension. However, the one on the bottom right is the stock I love, Walgreens. Walgreens pays a solid dividend. They're a good. I'm not saying there's going to be a trade in Walgreens tomorrow. I just think it's a good stock for your portfolio. But yeah, UiPath, Nano Dimensions has run before, so do not sleep on earnings plays, man. Just because it's not a stock you might normally trade, earnings has been a fantastic catalyst this year for day trading. So you've got to have those on your radar. That's what it's all about. My goodness, that battle that was happening at 56.20. It looks like it did come back to 55. So
Hallelujah.
Rivian, wowzers. I wish I had gone long when it broke out, but I didn't have a long setup for it. I just wasn't looking long Rivian today. Somehow I'm long everything, and I wasn't looking for a long break on Rivian. That's how it is. But 56 back into 55. I'm going to hold on to a little bit just to see if it can come back to the breakout price or VWAP. But what an unreal ride and roller coaster that just was. And now only halfway back, as we say. But with only a couple minutes to go, you know what we got to do before we get out of here.
Yeah.
What's up, Ms. V? What national day we got?
Hey guys, I hope you're having a wonderful morning so far. Thank you so much for 2,000 likes, for all the super chats. Welcome all the new members and new subscribers. And the whole trading day is ahead still, so please join Prad and me right after for Market Movers show, and happy National Turkey Neck Soup Day.
What?
Turkey neck soup.
Yeah, okay, I'm down with that. Yeah, that's normally, I'm surprised that's, I guess maybe heading into Easter maybe, coming through. That's another big holiday. You have turkey on. So, yeah, maybe that's what's up with turkey neck soup. But, wow, I'm like, can't believe what happened to Rivian here. Okay, so you're going to see me still in AMC, but again, we're just holding like basically nothing on this name. We're trying to watch where AMC is going to go. It's coming back into these levels here, 27.80 that we like. So possible long here for AMC. I don't mind this 28.40 level. Again on that Rivian, man, wow, what a crazy, crazy move. Like, you know, we stood there and we're like, it's not, is it going to take 57? Like, I wish Brendan was available. Like, I couldn't find any news on that, but it just took off and just kept on going. And then we got out of the majority of them now for a loser. But wow, we made a lot of money back on that short right there. So, and then Facebook right now, $2 in the money on the downside. Like, yeah, that's well traded and well held for sure off that short using better levels than before, man. Like, that was the key right there. So used a better level there at 231 and then hit this to the downside. We tried to get shorter there and we just missed it. So my bad, obviously, as always on that. But now that would be $2 straight to the downside as the market is definitely getting faded. And here comes Rivian right back in, man. I have a bid. I'm just going to put a bid out now. Just enough is happening here that we might as well see about taking a piece out. I was waiting for lower here, so I don't know what that news is, but hopefully Rivian can fall back back down and come into place. It's still up that 2.23%, right? So it's not like it's ripping out of control. It's just that move got accelerated quick time.
It was insane.
We just took a piece out there in the teens.
Yeah, you don't see that very often when the market's not going crazy or other names weren't having the same move. It is 11 o'clock, but before we throw to Trader Brad and Ms. V, I did see in the chat, happy birthday to Laguna I Capital. I don't know why it's blocking you putting saying it's your birthday today. But happy birthday, Laguna I Capital. Enjoy it. The market is wild. We're getting some moves here, and we're sending you to the Midday Show with Trader Pratt and Ms. V. Go get them.
Welcome to the Midday Show. I'm your host, Trader Pratt. This is the beautiful Ms. V.
Thank you, Brad, and hey guys, indeed, welcome. Exciting day. Hope you're all having a profitable day. Please be active on the chat as usual. Ask us anything and give us a like. We would really appreciate. How's the trading?
Yes,
day
number
going?
3 like
Number
today.